somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us had to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have called it
I can only show you the door.
awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading the message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is weird.
Time is coming.
At a
Trade
tree.
can't be stopped. It's already here.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth. This is every message.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us had to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have called it
I can only show you the door.
awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading the message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is weird.
Time is coming.
At a
Trade
tree.
can't be stopped. It's already here.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth. Nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us had to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have called it
I can only show you the door.
awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading the message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is weird.
Time is coming.
At a
Trade
tree.
can't be stopped. It's already here.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth. Nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us had to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have called it
I can only show you the door.
awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading the message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is weird.
Time is coming.
At a
Trade
tree.
can't be stopped. It's already here.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth. Nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us had to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have called
show you the door.
Waking up.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing. Every day.
Civilization is getting weird.
Time is coming.
At a tree.
It can't be stopped. It's already here.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth. Nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us have been brought to the brink. A lot of us here have called it.
I can only show you the door.
Waking up.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing. Every day.
Civilization is getting weird.
Time is coming.
At a tree.
It can't be stopped. It's already here.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth. Nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us have been brought to the brink. A lot of us here have called it.
I can only show you the door.
Waking up.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing. Every day.
Civilization is getting weird.
Time is coming.
At a tree.
It can't be stopped. It's already here.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth. Nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us have been brought to the brink. A lot of us here have called it.
I can only show you the door.
Waking up.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing. Every day.
Civilization is getting weird.
Time is coming.
At a tree.
It can't be stopped. It's already here.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth. Nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us have been brought to the brink. A lot of us here have called it.
I can only show you the door.
Waking up.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing. Every day.
Civilization is weird.
Time's coming.
That's
It
tricky.
can't be stopped. It's
Right?
already here.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember,
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to The True Perspective. We're going to be starting pretty soon. I just, we've been experiencing some flooding
try to free your
in
mind.
the
It is
Rhode
the
Island
secret.
area, so we've been a little bit delayed on getting everything up. Just bear with us, bear with me.
The whole purpose of the First
We're going to be
Amendment is
starting
keep
this in
the
about
government the hell out of the
10,
business
15 minutes.
of
We're queuing up some videos to start off with and start getting some questions going. If you want to interact, you can start throwing some questions now if you want to, and we'll get to them. Otherwise, stick around. Get ready for the ride. We're about to start remembering 9/11, and we're gonna go into some information about it. So stay tuned. Thank you for tuning in to The True Perspective. Make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe.
This is your last chance. After
The
this,
True Perspective, the TRU Perspective on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Rumble. I recommend that you go to Rumble to view all of this because Rumble is not going to censor anything. So I'll see you there. Thank you. I'm going to keep the intro going,
This is a struggle.
the trailer going, and then we're going to start this up in about 10, 15 minutes. We've been, like I said, we've been a little bit delayed due to the flood out here in Rhode Island.
Will be
Thank you.
our last chance to say.
try to free your mind. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us have to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have called it
I can only show you the door.
waking up.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading the message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing. Every day.
Civilization is weird.
Time's coming.
That's
It
tricky.
can't be stopped. It's already here.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth. Nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Try to free your mind. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us have to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have called it
I can only show you the door.
waking up.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading the message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing. Every day.
Civilization is weird.
Time's coming.
That's
It
tricky.
can't be stopped. It's already here.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth. Nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Try to free your mind. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us have to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have called it
I can only show you the door.
waking up.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading the message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing. Every day.
Civilization is weird.
Time's coming.
That's tricky.
Can't be stopped. It's already here.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth. Nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us have a problem with the brink. Monsieur, call me.
I can only show you the door.
Awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading the message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing. Every day.
Civilization is weird.
Time is coming.
At the
Train
tree.
can be stopped. It's already here.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth. Nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us have a problem with the brink. Monsieur, call me.
I can only show you the door.
Awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading the message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing. Every day.
Civilization is weird.
Time is coming.
At the
Train
tree.
can be stopped. It's already here.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth. Nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us have a problem with the brink. Monsieur, call me.
I can only show you the door.
Awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading the message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing. Every day.
Civilization is weird.
Time is coming.
At the
Train
tree.
can be stopped. It's already here.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth. Nothing more.
And this will be our last chance.
show it one more time.
Are we on?
Yeah, we're on.
I mean, check that out. There's buildings right there. None of the other buildings were even harmed.
None of them.
People standing there watching. Look at that.
Yep. And this is by the way, this is a controlled demolition in the Travelers building, I guess in 1988, in Boston. Freedom Man had me pull that up to bring that up to.
Well, I just, it's like, this is not, it's not a new thing. Demolition. I mean, we've been doing demolition. This is
reports Panama's
1988. I was working up in Boston in the elevator business, building elevators inside of those buildings. That was an old building that had to come down so they could build a new building. And everybody gathered around. It was like a big party. You could hear the people all cheering and everything.
Oh yeah.
And came down. Nobody got hurt because it was planned. It was a planned event, and it went off just exactly the way the engineers designed it to go off.
Right. Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah. And demolitions go. I mean, they go on all the time. Like you said, it's literally nothing new. The difference is that we've never seen a demolition occur that resulted in pretty much 100-year war.
Well,
what the fuck's playing?
We've essentially
Hold on a
been
second.
at war since.
Well, yeah, we've been at
building
war
number
ever.
7. There you go.
So yeah, I wanted to
New
cue.
York City,
Oh, this ain't-
2001.
I don't think this is the video.
No tall building had ever collapsed.
Nope.
No tall building had ever collapsed, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
So that's Travelers building. I got that queued up. I wanted to go to building 7 because building 7, I wanted to go into that immediately because that's like a smoking gun to what occurred on 9/11. And also thank you all for tuning in to the True Perspective podcast. I have myself and Freedom Man here. Thank you all for tuning in. What you just saw, again, is the Travelers building in Boston, 1988, in a controlled demolition. And obviously it has nothing to do... Well, it has everything to do with 9/11. Why? Because we're about to check out what Building 7 did on 9/11, where it actually, it basically fell into its own footprint.
Here's a building.
Other than the two towers already being...
The two towers were to cover up for Building 7. Nobody talked about Building 7. But what was going on inside Building 7 that had to be covered up? That's what we want to know. And why were they so willing to take down two huge other buildings in front of Building 7 so that nobody would notice that Building 7 also collapsed?
Correct.
That's kind of where I'm going with this as far as the conspiracy aspect goes. Some people are going to already shut their computers off because I said the word conspiracy. And who knows?
Right.
Well, last time I was on here, we were on TikTok, and we got
fucking booted off. I'm back on TikTok, by the way. I haven't gone live yet, but I am back on TikTok.
But we got shut down
well, we were
for a
talking-
week because we talked about something that TikTok didn't like.
Yeah. I mean,
and I don't even know what we
I'm
do.
not
We
even
know?
sure.
Do we don't even know.
They just said misinformation. They never gave a
Misinformation.
an idea.
But
of
they
what,
can't tell us what the misinformation was.
No, I suspect what it is. I because we were starting to get into the election stuff and all that.
Well, we also talked about Oath Keepers, Stuart Rhodes.
Right. We were talking about
January 6th.
Right.
Treason.
Right. And TikTok didn't like that.
I said the word militia.
This is as close as we can get.
So some of these videos that I'm going to queue up, I'm going into. Okay, so this is I don't know if this is the best angle. I want to get that CNN report angle, but I'll show this one. Let me cue that. This is going to be World Trade Center 7. Get off the screen. And yeah, and it's going to...
Wait. Now look at this. It's building weakened
Weakened
by WTC attack collapses.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's cue this up.
It was weakened, so it just fell
They're
apart.
saying that, yeah.
It was weakened, so it was just going to fall apart.
Yeah, basically, because the story behind it is that the building was weakened due to the towers falling and then the debris falling onto the building and then causing office fires.
Okay, well,
That's how I remember
go back
it.
to that building in Boston for a second.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
heard like firecrackers going off.
Right.
Those were explosions.
Where
And you
is
could
this?
hear it
Yeah,
very
right here,
clearly
right
in
here.
that.
Let me forward this. Right here.
Listen for the sounds of the
They can see it. Okay. Let's cue that. Play that shit. Nope, we're not talking about John Kennedy today. I don't know who that was.
They really don't want us to show this stuff. That's how it happens.
So that's what a demo looks like. That's what a demolition building
Now
looks
look at the
like.
buildings in background, though. They're perfectly fine.
Perfectly fine. Not on fire. No signs of direct energy weapons or anything like that.
No, that's another whole conspiracy.
I know. I'm not going to go that far right now.
There's
Now,
so much stuff we're talking about. That's
now with
happened
that in
since-
view, for the video watcher, I'm gonna cue Building 7. Well, that falls early in the video. Oh, here we go. We got different angles. Look at that. Falling right into its footprint.
Yeah, that doesn't happen by accident. There's no way. Okay.
Even if there was a structural failure. Now, granted, we're not demolitionists. We're not. As far as I know, I'm not an engineer. I'm not a demolitionist. But if you understand the basics of how physics work,
Well, you
if there
saw-
was
you
any
s-
if there was any structural damage, it wouldn't fall like that.
No,
it
no,
would
no, no,
fall to
no.
the side or
Well,
or
it wouldn't have fallen. They just don't
Yeah,
fall.
well, it just
I mean,
wouldn't have fallen, period,
The only time
because-
they fall is when they're blown up. You saw the one in Boston. Now look at this.
Right.
Same kind of smoke cloud, same kind of straight down falling.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see that in nature. That does not happen in nature.
Correct. Let's
So-
go back. Let's go back to that
Yeah,
real quick.
so-
I want to start from the beginning
Really?
of that.
Yeah. What happened?
So that's Building 7. It's the bad angle from here, but you see how it just falls. It falls straight down.
No way that would
Now
have
this angle right here, you'll see it falling straight down, straight down, straight down, right into its own footprint.
Absolutely no way that could happen by chance.
Nope. That's that, and we
And
just
look at the smoke. It's the same kind of smoke you saw on the one in
Right.
Boston.
Mhm.
This is exploded.
Mhm.
It's not. I mean, it just things don't turn into dust like that unless they've been exploded.
And the likelihood that you don't hear any explosions from this camera view is because
Well, it's
of
way across
is,
the
is
city.
likely because of the distance.
But you can see there's other
And they're
ones.
inside. It looks like they're inside of a building too.
Yeah, but there's other videos of the catastrophe that happened that day where you can see like the explosions coming out
Yeah.
the side of the building,
Yeah.
just like we saw in the one in Boston. And also, firefighters, lots of firefighters said, yeah, we could hear bombs going off. People on the street said we could hear bombs going off.
Yes, there's video of that, and you know, I'm not surprised though. But there's been a lot of video that's actually been removed or it's hard to find.
Well, they don't want you to question. I mean,
Right.
I don't know how good. What's the
What?
one with
What's
the big
that?
the
Right
Twin
here?
Towers?
Had
You know?
ever
This
collapsed
one right here. I
primarily
think
due
this
to
is
fire.
this might be.
But that's
what-
exactly what investigators
Hold on a second. I don't want to. That's National Geographic. I don't want to play them because they'll probably just throw this off.
Oh, because it's copyright.
Yeah.
believe happened to the 47-story World Trade Center Building 7 on September 11th.
Who's this?
According to a 3-year
This is.
What is she talking about? According to a 3-year.
Hold on.
Is this credible?
This says
information?
the National Institute of Standards and Technology conducted an extensive 3-year scientific and technical investigation on September 11, 2001, collapse of the 47-story World Trade Center Building 7 in New York City. This video describes the results of the study, which concluded that fires on multiple floors in World Trade Center 7, which were uncontrolled but otherwise similar to fires experienced in other tall buildings, caused an extraordinary event. Heating of the floor beams and girders caused the critical support column to fail, initiating a fire-induced progressive collapse that brought the building down.
That's got to be a lie.
That sounds like 100% pure bullshit. I'm sorry, but that sounds like 100% pure
Well, for one thing,
bullshit.
a fire of what? A couch burning?
First of all,
is going to melt a steel beam?
Yes.
What was burning? Furniture?
Furniture, as far as I can.
Curtains? Carpet?
Right. You got to remember that these structures.
There was no plane hit this building. Oh, sorry.
No,
there was
you're good.
no plane hitting this building. So the whole, which is false anyways about the jet fuel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that doesn't burn hot enough to melt steel. But this building had no reason to just fall down like that.
Right.
What was on fire that could possibly have caused that much heat?
From what I yeah, right. I mean, we could look that up too. But from what I remember, even from the fresh view of looking at that thing on TV, I think I was like 16 years old when this happened to me. Anyway, when I witnessed it, rather, I wasn't there, but I did witness it. Like on the TV.
Yeah, on TV.
But from my understanding, from what I remember, is that it was like office papers, it was office furniture, it was stuff like that. It was the floor burning.
Yeah.
Like that.
Girl
that was
Scouts were making.
But these things are built
brownies.
with, like they're like the skeleton of its structure is built with steel beams. It's not wood. It's not like it's a wood house or something like that catches on fire and eventually the beams give out. And again, it takes 2,500 degrees in order to melt steel. So
How long? Let's just try to. How long? I mean, have you ever taken a cutting torch?
yeah,
And cut a steel beam with a cutting torch?
I haven't cut a steel beam,
Right.
but I've seen it happen.
I've
yeah.
cut a steel beam with a cutting torch.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of have to heat it up for a little while. And once it starts to cut, though,
Mm-hmm.
that shit will blow the steel right out.
Oh yeah.
I mean, blow it right out.
thermite.
Like butter.
Thermite is suspected to have.
But there was
been-
no cutting torches. You know what I mean? You need to have something like that to cut a steel beam.
Mm-hmm.
Not, the couch in the office caught on fire. That's bullshit.
Absolutely, 100% is fucking bullshit. Whatever that they were selling at the time when everything started to occur, they immediately, first of all, Bush had immediately started to say that it was Osama bin Laden in Afghanistan, some guy in a cave. By the way, the CIA trained this guy whose supposedly codename. In fact, I actually think it's on record, Tim Osman. But that's a whole other rabbit hole. Besides, we're trying to clarify what happened on 9/11.
Well,
aside from the war and all that stuff, I mean, you can put all those dots together and connect them, and you can say like, oh, this is probably why we went in here. Well, we went
the
in
next
there,
point that I want to bring up,
other than controlling opium fields and oil,
all the stuff, everything that's happened since September 11th of 2001. Has been a direct result of what was being planned at that time. This was an event to scare the crap out of everybody, get us into a war, and make people not pay attention to what was going on behind the scenes. Because there was stuff going on behind the scenes. Who was it? Tell me who it was that announced the night before on
Donald Rumsfeld.
Donald Rumsfeld announced. What did he? Can we bring that up?
I think we can. Yeah,
I think we can bring a news clip of that up.
News clip.
That would be worthwhile to see for people who weren't really all together
I don't think
up to speed at that point in their lives. I mean, some people were just kids and some people were teenagers, like you said yourself. I was 41 when this happened, so I was pretty much aware of what the hell was going on in the world. And it was like, you're kidding me.
1 trillion or 1 billion. I can't remember how much it was.
2.3 trillion right there, he says.
Right here?
Right there, the top one. Donald
top
Rumsfeld.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah, Donald Rumsfeld, Secretary of Defense, was he?
I think something like that, yeah.
Donald Rumsfeld.
Here he is. Pentagon, yeah.
Yeah, he was like some fucking Pentagon official.
Well, he was, they were doing an investigation in the Pentagon. That's the reason why they blew up the Pentagon.
Right. So it says in, hold on, let me cue that up. Put that on the screen.
Is that a video?
Yeah, I believe so. No.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is down the bottom there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it says so Donald Rumsfeld announces Pentagon lost lost $2.3 trillion on September 10th, 2001.
The night before
It's an actual
this
article.
event happens.
The night before.
$2.3 trillion, by the way, was a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
We talk about trillions now like it's nothing. Back then, it was
Yeah.
like our whole entire economy just got lost.
Yeah.
Where'd it go?
Well, it's over in Ukraine right now, but it was in Iraq and Afghanistan. Anyway, let's play this. How long? Hold on. How long is this fucking video? 11 minutes. Let's get to his speech. Where's he speaking?
I don't know. Let it play for a little while. But
All right.
that's really loud.
We got
Is
time.
that,
Yeah,
is that
yeah.
normally that loud?
No, it's not.
That's
Hold on.
like,
Let me
wow.
lower that a little
It's
bit.
cracking my ears out.
How's that? That's good. Hope
Yeah,
people can
yeah,
hear
yeah.
that.
Let's see what he's got to say.
Let me just hold on. Let me just check chat real quick. Just want to make sure if I'm missing anything. Let the truth be set free. Shout outs to Jess. Thank you for tuning in. I'm just making sure that I'm checking the chat in here. Well, YouTube is very, very quiet. So is Facebook. It's all good. All right, going back to where the fuck were we? Right here. That's on screen. Okay.
Pete Aldrich, Service Secretaries, distinguished officials of the Department of Defense.
Defense
Myers,
Secretary
very much.
Donald Rumsfeld.
Kind words. The topic today is an adversary that poses a threat, serious threat to the security of the United States of America.
Okay, so he's setting it up.
This adversary is one of the world's last bastions of central planning, governs by dictating 5-year plans, a single capital that attempts to impose its command across time zones, continents, oceans, and beyond. With brutal consistency, it stifles free thought and crushes new ideas. It disrupts the defense of the United States and places the lives of men and women in uniform at risk. Perhaps this adversary sounds like the former Soviet Union, but that enemy's gone. Our foes are more subtle and implacable today. You may think I'm describing one of the last decrepit dictators of the world, but their day too is almost past, and they cannot match the strength or size of this adversary. The adversary is closer to home. It's the Pentagon bureaucracy, not the people, but the processes. Not the civilians, but the systems. Not the men and women in uniform, but the uniformity of thought and action that we too often impose on them. In this building, despite the era of scarce resources, taxed by mounting threats, money disappears into duplicative duties, bloated bureaucracy, not because of greed, but gridlock. Innovation is stifled not by ill intent, but by institutional inertia. Just as we must transform America's military capability to meet changing threats, we must transform the way the department works and what it works on. We must build a department where each of the dedicated people here can apply their immense talents to defend America, where they have the resources, information, and freedom to perform. Our challenge is to transform not just the way we deter and defend, but the way we conduct our daily business. Let's make no mistake. The modernization of the Department of Defense is a matter of some urgency. In fact, it could be said that it's a matter of life and death, ultimately,
Pause it
every
for 1
American.
sec. Just pause.
A new idea ignored.
Yeah.
Think about this.
Yeah.
This is the speech that he's making on TV. People are watching this all over the world, probably.
Yeah.
And then the very next day, something really big happens. But I'm really interested. This has been
this
so
is good.
long
This is-
since I've
this is good.
heard this.
Yeah, me too.
May be the next threat overlooked. A person employed in a redundant task is one who could be countering terrorism or nuclear proliferation. Every dollar squandered on waste is one denied to the warfighter. That's why we're here today, challenging us all to wage an all-out campaign to shift Pentagon's resources from bureaucracy to the battlefield, from tail to the tooth. We know the adversary, we know the threat, and with the same firmness of purpose that any effort against a determined adversary demands, we must get at
dude's just laying out the entire plan. Like no one was privy to it at that time. I
Right.
mean, unless you
Nobody-
were like
when
super
you were-
involved.
If you were watching this the night before 9/11, you would never have had a clue that.
What the fuck he's talking
No.
about? Right.
But now, looking back 20 years, 22 years, it's like, are you kidding me? He spills his guts, and then,
Yeah.
and everybody's blindsided. And 22 years later, there's still people that still don't know, and this shit's still going on.
Yeah. I'm gonna rewind that just like a couple seconds here because he said something pretty profound that clicks now. You know.
Yeah.
From tail to the tooth. We know the adversary, we know the threat, and with the same firmness of purpose that any effort against a determined adversary demands, we must get at it and stay at it. Some might ask, how in the world could the Secretary of Defense attack the Pentagon in front of his people? To them I reply, I have no desire.
What did he just say?
Yeah. He's coming down
he just
on the
laid
department.
out the fucking plan right there.
Right, and
This
then the
is
next day.
So I haven't heard this in a really long time.
I know,
Like,
and you were probably really young when you did hear it.
Right.
But the next day, a missile hits the freaking Pentagon.
right. Wait,
All right.
hold on. Let me back that up just
right.
a little bit right here.
All right.
Because he mentions the Pentagon.
I know.
He mentions it, and this is, mind you, everyone.
He's standing in the Pentagon talking about it.
Right. Yeah, he's standing in the Pentagon. Mind you, everyone that's viewing right now, we're doing the memorial of 9/11, but we're doing some investigative type of memorial of 9/11.
Well, because we want to know why 22 years later, why are we still in this shit?
Sure. Right. Exactly. And this is Donald Rumsfeld. This is a day before 9/11 happens. This right here is September 10th.
On the news the night before.
On the news the night before. I'm backing that up a couple seconds here.
Some might ask, how in the world could the Secretary of Defense attack the Pentagon in front of his people? To them I reply, I have no desire to attack the Pentagon.
Oh my.
I want to liberate it. We need to save it from itself. The men and women of this department, civilians and militaries, are our allies, not our enemies. They too are fed up with bureaucracy.
Not anymore.
They too live with frustrations. I hear it every day. And I'll bet $1 to a dime that they too want to fix it. In fact, I bet they even know how to fix it. And if asked, we'll get about the task of fixing it. And I'm asking. They know the taxpayers deserve better. Every dollar we spend was entrusted to us by a taxpayer who earned it by creating something of value with sweat and skill. A cashier in Chicago, a waitress in San Francisco. An average American family works an entire year to generate $6,000 in income taxes. Here we spill many times that amount every hour by duplication and by inattention. That's wrong. It's wrong because national defense depends on public trust, and trust in turn hinges on respect for the hardworking people of America and the tax dollars they earn. We need to respect them and their efforts. Waste drains resources from training and tanks, from infrastructure and intelligence, from helicopters and housing. Outdated systems crush ideas that could save a life. Redundant processes prevent us from adapting to evolving threats with the speed and agility that today's world demands. Above all, the shift from bureaucracy to the battlefield is a matter of national security.
Okay, hold that.
In this period of limited funds,
He's talking about a shift from, what did he say, bureaucracy to the battlefield? He just said he's planning on changing the way America does business.
Yep.
We're going to get rid of the bureaucracy because we're wasting those taxpayers' dollars, and we're just going to go right into the war.
Yep.
And we're going to get some shit done.
Yep.
And what have we been getting done for 22 years? Let's continue, because we're going to go into this a lot more as the night progresses, I'm sure.
We need every nickel, every good idea, every innovation, every effort to help modernize and transform the U.S. military. We must change for a simple reason. The world has, and we have not yet changed sufficiently.
Right.
The clearest and most important transformation is from a bipolar Cold War world where threats were visible and predictable to one in which they arise from multiple sources, most of which are difficult to anticipate, and many of which are impossible even to know
Laying
today.
it out right there, dude.
Let there be no question. The 2.7 million people who wear our country's uniform, active, guard, and reserve, and the close to 700,000 more who support them in civilian attire, comprise the finest military in the history of the world. They stand ready to face down any threat, anytime, anywhere. But we must do more. We must develop and build weapons to deter those new threats. We must rebuild our infrastructure, which is in a very serious state of disrepair. And we must assure that the noble cause of military service remains the high calling that will attract the very best. All this costs money. It costs more than we have. It demands agility, more than today's bureaucracy allows.
Cough up your whole paycheck.
And that means we must recognize another transformation, the revolution in management, technology, and business practices. Successful modern businesses are leaner and less hierarchical than ever before. They reward innovation and they share information. They have to be nimble in the face of rapid change or they die. Business enterprises die if they fail to adapt. And the fact that they can fail and die is what provides the incentive to survive. But governments can't die. So we need to find other incentives for bureaucracy to adapt and improve. The technology revolution has transformed organizations across the private sector. But not ours, not fully, not yet. We are, as they say, tangled in our anchor chain. Our financial systems are decades old. According to some estimates, we cannot track $2.3 trillion.
There it is. There it is.
Smoking gun. Wait,
Wow.
Yeah, no, wait, we don't want to stop here because this is all good stuff.
No, we're not stopping here. I thought we were gonna.
But no, I know. He just said that they don't have, they were too dumb to know where 2.3 trillion. Like we gotta go back. Let's do that. One more time.
I'm gonna, yeah. Let's
I want to hear that.
rewind that one more time.
It came up real quick.
It did. It came.
The way he said it.
He just kind of segued that in there really
almost
quickly.
kind of just slipped it under the rug. You know what I mean? Like, without
no big
anybody-
deal. 2.3
trillion. Did you say?
Yeah, 2 point. Excuse me. Oh, no big deal. Let me back that up. Where am I? Here we go. Couple seconds here.
Yet. We are, as they say, tangled in our anchor chain.
Is he reading?
Our financial systems are decades old. According to some estimates, we cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
Okay.
We cannot share information from floor to floor in this building because it's stored on dozens of different technological systems that are inaccessible.
Hold on, mind you, this is the age of the MP3. This is the age, I believe, flash drives were available also.
1988. Most
No,
people
this
were
ain't
still.
this ain't 1988.
No. Actually,
This
no.
is 2001.
You're right. No,
You're-
I was jumping back to Boston.
yeah.
No, yeah. This
That's
is
fine.
2001. So let's see. Wait a minute. 2001. Now they were still using like
They had
floppy disks and shit like that. They had CDs.
They
though.
did have CDs. They had CDs. There were floppy disks, but there were like standard. What the fuck are they called? Something hard drive. They didn't have SSDs, which I think is like
No, they didn't
solid
have SSD.
solid
Yeah,
state.
solid
They didn't have solid
No,
state.
but they had.
I'm pretty sure they had a version of a flash drive, but not like the flash drives.
Yeah,
I don't have one in here somewhere. But
I mean, but the biggest hard drive in a computer back then was like 10 gigs, 20 gigs. You know,
yeah,
like
sure. You're right. You're right.
We have them
But
that are in
they but-
terabytes now.
Right, we have them in like gigabytes. Like no, yeah, terabytes. You're right.
Terabytes.
Yeah, gigabyte,
But I mean,
terabytes.
but
bigger
think
than-
about like if you wanted to pass some information to a friend, you
Sure,
either
yeah.
had to burn it onto a CD or
Yeah.
or you
Email
hand them
it.
a floppy disk. Or but you couldn't email
Yeah, the
stuff the
band-
way you can now.
That's true.
But they
That's
did
true,
have
too.
MP3s.
They did have MP3s.
So, but the point he's trying to make is that they literally inside the Pentagon, everything back then was still really paperwork.
Sure.
You know, you
Yeah, it was
typed
all
up a
fi-
memo
yeah, I
and you
get it.
literally walked it over. They called it the sneaker net.
Mhm.
Like you had to type it up and then put your sneakers on and run down around because this Pentagon is a pretty big building. But I mean, they had mail couriers and people delivering mail to different departments, departmental mail. You know, you used to have these envelopes, the big manila envelopes with the string that you wrapped around the little button thing there. You know, and you put all your stuff in and you write on there what it was.
Xerox machines and
yeah, all that stuff was still. I mean, so seriously, yeah, okay.
he's
But it was still the highest state of technology. Probably he's acting like the United States is so far behind. We like come on, bullshit.
Right. And granted, we're not talking a couple 100,000. Even that's a fucking big number.
No,
we're talking 2.3 billion.
Trillion.
Sorry, trillion. Trillion dollars.
That's like the whole economy of the United States back then.
Back then it was, yeah, like close to it, I think.
Because like, what are we up to? Like 30 trillion now. So 2.3 trillion was, and that's 20 years ago. Was a lot of money. That was like the whole economy. He's saying basically, we don't know where it is. Is that what he's really saying though? Let's hear that one more time.
Yeah, let's back that up a little bit again. Head back into that video. Right there. Probably. Oh, that's too far. Here we go.
We cannot share information from floor to floor in this building because it's stored on dozens of different technological systems that are inaccessible or incompatible. We maintain 20 to 25% more base infrastructure than we need to support our forces, at an annual waste to taxpayers of some $3 to $4 billion.
3 to 4 billion. Wait,
fully half of our resources go to infrastructure and overhead. And in addition to draining resources from warfighting, these costly and outdated systems, procedures, and programs stifle innovation as well. A new idea must often survive the gauntlet of some 17 levels of bureaucracy to make it from a line officer's head to my desk. I have too much respect for a line officer to believe that we need 17 layers between us. Our business process and regulation seems to be engineered to prevent any mistake, and by so doing, they discourage any risk. But ours is a nation born of ideas and raised on improbability, and risk aversion is not America's ethic, and more important, it must not be ours. Those who fear danger do not volunteer to storm beaches and take hills, sail the seas, and conquer the skies. Now we must free you to take some of the same thoughtful, reasoned risks in the bureaucracy that the men and women in uniform do in battle. To that end, we're announcing today a series of steps the Department of Defense will take to shift our focus and our resources from bureaucracy to battlefield, from tail to tooth. Today's announcements are only the first of many. We will launch others ourselves, and we will ask Congress for legislative help as well. We have, for example, asked Congress for permission to begin the process of closing excess bases and consolidating the B-1 bomber force. But we have the ability and therefore the responsibility to reduce waste and improve operational efficiency on our own. Already we've made some progress. We've eliminated some 31 of the 72 acquisition-related advisory boards. We now budget based on realistic estimates. We're improving the acquisition process. We're investing $400 million in public-private partnerships for military housing.
Stop.
Many utility services.
400 million. That's like a drop in the bucket. They would laugh at that today.
Right.
That's like what a town does.
Yeah.
I think Pawtucket probably does.
It's peanuts compared to what the spending that they do.
I want to get back.
Even then, the spending that they did then.
Yeah, 400 million
was still peanuts. You know what I'm saying? It's still peanuts now.
Because he was talking about 2.3 trill.
Right.
He said something about 3 to 4 billion in waste. I mean, that's like one corporation.
Yeah. Right.
Know? I mean, what were the bailouts? Some of those bailouts
in the billions. Definitely in the billions.
I was just.
It was Bank of America. It was J.P. Morgan.
Is that the waste?
Fannie Mac.
Is that the waste he's talking about?
Was that one of them? Fannie Mac? Or
not back then, I don't think.
Not Bernie Mac. He was a comedian. R.I.P. Wonderful treasure of a comedian.
I want to get back to that. Just
Fannie Mae. Sorry.
Yeah.
Fannie Mae. There were
mortgages.
Mortgage and law firm.
Yeah, it was mostly mortgages. If you went for a mortgage, you got
insurance.
Involved
fucking.
But can we get back? I just want to hear when he actually says the 2.3 trillion. I want to just.
Oh, to get back to that, yeah. Let's.
Because a lot of people say, he made it sound like we lost. And as a matter of fact, I think the headline on this was we lost 2.3 trillion. And I mean,
basically said that.
It just we don't know where it is.
I don't even think he basically said that. He said that.
He said we don't know where it is.
We don't know where it is. We've misplaced $2.3 3, not 1,000, not 100,
Not million.
trillion. And even like, come on, man, like Jesus
I know.
Christ. By the way, taxpayer dollars, our taxpayer dollars, if
Oh,
you will.
yeah, the money that we work. Well, there it is. There it is.
I don't know.
Donald
where he's-
Rumsfeld announces Pentagon lost $2.3
Yeah.
trillion on September 10th.
Yeah. He announced it. This is, again, September 10th of 2001. And mind you, when you're listening to all of this, too, is that it's as though they're setting up the...
Yeah, I do want to listen to the rest of it.
You know what I'm saying? They're set. Let's listen to the rest of it, and then we'll go back on when he mentions that, because in the beginning here, he's basically setting up the premise of what what September 11th is going to look like. At least what the war is going to look like. He doesn't say these towers are going to get thrown into, or the Pentagon's going to suffer any. Although he does kind of hint that the Pentagon is at risk of threat. I think he might have said that. We'll go back in that, but I don't know. I mean, you know,
It got us into the war on terror, is what it really amounts to, which hasn't stopped and probably never will stop.
No.
And now they're
well, now
adding to.
the plan of the war on terror was to create an enemy. They created an enemy at the time.
That's how he starts the speech.
Out of the Islamic State. They said, what would Bush call them? The Bush administration, Islamic terrorists, right? Yeah. Extremists. Islamic extremists. That's what they were. That's what they were calling.
And they blamed the Twin Towers coming down on those people,
right?
So that we could get into the war with them,
right?
Because obviously we wanted their oil
and their opium.
Well,
we wanted their opium fields.
Yeah.
Another thing the government's heavily involved in is drugs. They committed to have the war on drugs, but are also funding and securing the war on drugs. But that's a
Well, they want to be in control of the drugs because that's how they control people.
Of course. I mean, they're in control of war. They're in control of the drugs. They're in control of child trafficking. They're in control of taxpayer dollars.
I want to get into some of that child trafficking before this tonight's over.
Yeah, we will. We'll end.
I think
we'll end on some notes, but
this guy's speech 22 years ago is almost like the cornerstone of everything that's happened since then.
Mm-hmm.
And people forgot about it because the very next day, everybody's looking at the Twin Towers coming down.
No one remembered his speech.
Nobody remembered his speech. That's why I brought it up.
For the next,
this is keynote.
For the next, well, at least, I mean, granted, for the next 8 years, because Bush was in power during this time. Bush was the president, right? Bush Jr.
They immediately threw us into a war, so people weren't thinking about this.
When did Bush get into office?
Well, it had to been,
It was like 99, 2000,
yeah,
right?
It had been just before this. Yeah.
And then almost like, not even like a year in. Well, like a year in, immediately into a war. We get attacked. We get attacked by, some guys.
So they
from
say.
We get attacked from some guys in a cave that were
CIA trained.
Yeah, and
supposedly, Bin Laden supposedly was on kidney dialysis too. So, and he actually did get kidney dialysis in the United States at one of the military bases.
When we get into that, we'll get into some of that. I'm gonna have to remember. There's a video. I think she's a Muslim woman, and she was talking about that he had already died in like 2004 or something like that. Somewhere along the line.
They killed him about 8 times, I think.
Yeah, and then we dumped him off in the fucking ocean too, which was weird. Like, is that
We got to get rid of the body.
If anyone's
there really isn't a body.
If anyone is a part of the Islamic faith, Muslim faith, I'm not very privy on how burials are, but is that a tradition to bury some off in the ocean like that without any identification? It doesn't seem like that. I mean, it sounds like I don't know. It doesn't sound like that, especially for a high profile individual like that.
No,
it sounds very suspect. But if there's anyone out there that is part of, that practices the Islamic faith or Muslim faith, I'm not 100% privy on that. So forgive me, but if it's tradition to have a body being basically thrown out into the ocean in their casket, is that a tradition? I'd like to know, just for my own curiosity. Find video of
Well, you'd know about Norsemen doing it with the
Well, they have
the longboats. They
right.
float
They
them
have
out there, then they
Viking
shoot
funerals.
the arrow. But that's
Viking funerals. What they do is that they stack you on a pile of hay and almost like pallets. They do it in a pallet style now, but and you could request that. I think Maine allows it, which is pretty dope. I think Maine and North Carolina. I think I might be wrong about that, but I think Maine and North Carolina allows.
But the reason why I brought it up because that's Norse. It's not Islam.
Right, and
I don't think they even liked each other.
They interacted with each other at one point, but yeah, I don't think
in the Mediterranean.
You're right, in the Mediterranean.
When what's his name came down in there?
Ragnarok. I'm not Ragnarok. Ragnar. Well, his son.
Yeah.
Supposedly, how the story goes, even if you're privy to the.
If you watch the Vikings series, the Vikings, they actually did that.
Yeah, they interacted with the Mediterranean area, Muslims, the Islamic people, Arabs, all kinds of cultures they interacted with.
Well, the Mediterranean takes North Africa, the Middle East, and Europe all in together.
So let's back up on this a little bit. Where were we? We were gonna go. We'll go back a couple of seconds. We're gonna finish this out.
Yes, not much
right?
left. Yeah. I want to see what his conclusion when he draws his conclusion, because that's gonna be telling us really. This is 22 years ago, so and nothing has changed since that day. It's only gotten worse.
Right. Yeah. 100%. All right. Oh shit.
Advisory boards. We now budget based on realistic estimates. We're improving the acquisition process. We're investing $400 million in public-private partnerships for military housing. Many utility services to military installations will be privatized. We're tightening the requirements for other government agencies to reimburse us for detailees. And we're reviewing to see whether we should suspend assignments where detailees are not fully reimbursed. We have committed $100 million for financial modernization, and we're establishing a Defense Business Board to tap outside expertise as we move to improve the department's business practices. We can be proud of this progress, but certainly not satisfied. To succeed, this effort demands personal and sustained attention at the highest levels of the department. Therefore, it will be guided by the Senior Executive Council, including Undersecretary Pete Aldrich, Army Secretary Thomas White, Navy Secretary Gordon England, and Air Force Secretary Jim Roach. These leaders are experienced, talented, and determined. I am delighted they are on our team. I would not want to try to stop them from what they came into this department to do. I expect them to be enormously successful.
That's how they ended it?
Yep. Oh, no. Is there a commercial? No, that's how they ended it.
That's crappy. Crappy ending.
So.
Yeah. I dare anybody to try and stop them from doing what they're going to do.
I want to find that. I want to find the full one, but not. We don't have to find. Oh, boy. We don't have to find the full one tonight. I would like to find where.
Civilians and militaries are our allies, not our enemies. They too are fed up with
it's up
bureaucracy.
About 2/3 of the way.
They too live with frustrations.
More.
I hear it every day.
More.
To deter those new threats. Another transformation. And they share information if they fail to adapt. And the fact that they can fail and die is what provides the incentive to survive. But governments can't die. So we need to find other incentives. We cannot track 2.3
There it is.
So good shout outs to whoever Joseph Lohr is on the Vimeo, because he marked it right here. It says go to 750. That's where he says it.
Excellent.
So yeah, that's dope. I love people like that. I love people that mark it out like that. I don't know how you do it, but awesome. Oh shit! Hold on. We're 7. Damn it.
We cannot track 2.0 and improve.
Let's listen to what he says.
The technology revolution has transformed organizations across the private sector. But not ours, not fully, not yet. We are, as they say, tangled in our anchor chain. Our financial systems are decades old. According to some estimates, we cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
$2.3 trillion in transactions. Where'd they go? Where'd it go? Into whose hands?
We can't track them.
We can't.
Can't track.
I mean, we can't. Like, you'd have to actually be a part of their.
Now, the reason why I brought this video on.
And honestly, this is probably one of the big smoking guns right here.
This is the huge smoking gun because he's standing in the Pentagon and he's talking about what they're capable of, what they're not capable of, and we're going to take this from the bureaucrat to the battlefield and all this stuff. And then the very next day, boom, we get to see 2 huge buildings in New York City come down because they got hit by airplanes, supposedly.
Yep.
Nobody says anything about Building 7, which we showed, also coming down. And so far, we haven't talked about the fact that the Pentagon itself was hit.
Yeah.
The place where they were doing this investigation, the place where we can't track the money.
The next day after.
The very next morning.
Yep.
After this was on the news.
Morning,
this was on the news last night, and now this morning we're watching this stuff blow up. Doesn't that even, like, make you a little bit suspicious?
Right.
At all?
Right.
And we've been at war since. He called it the next day it commenced. And it hasn't stopped since.
Yep.
We've been at war of some form or another. And now the scare tactics that they use have just been accelerated with the most recent weapon really is the weaponization of medicine. They're weaponizing the vaccinations and all the other medical stuff. When I think about people being sick and how come there's no cures? How come there's never a cure for anything? How come the pharmaceutical industry just keeps giving us Band-Aids to put on our boo-boos instead of actually stopping these diseases? That's the most recent chapter in the war on us. It's not a war on terror.
Right.
It's a war on the American people and
the world. And the citizens.
Really, the people of the world. But when I talk about, here in America, I mean, we don't even realize, most people don't realize that $2.3 trillion that they couldn't track went into somebody's pockets. Not ours. It came out of our pockets. And we lost it. They were responsible for taking care of that money.
Yeah.
We trusted them to take care of that money. We trusted our government to take care of all that stuff. He talks about $100 million for something at the end there. He says, we're going to do $100 million. $100 million. That is like one little teeny grain of sand on a beach when you compare it to 2.3 trillion. And now we're up to what? Something like 30 trillion, I'm hearing?
Yeah, we're all the way up there. Yeah. And it's just getting higher and higher because of all the money that we're sending over to Ukraine.
I heard something like every 5 weeks it's another trillion, or in every 5 months it's another trillion.
Right now we're at 100, I think, don't quote me on this, but I think it's around the number of $105 billion right now that we sent to Ukraine. Attached also with the equipment that we've been giving them too. We've been giving them money and we've been giving them equipment. Mind you, right now, I know that we're talking about 9/11, but
it hasn't stopped.
There's a comparable. I'm going to see if I can try and find it tonight. But Maui, right? It would take about roughly around 5-6 million for Maui to get reconstructed, and those people that suffered that fire. I'm not air quoting a fire like it was a fake fire. It was a real fire. The way how it happened, I'm not so sure. It's very suspect. But $5 billion it would take. $5 billion was supposedly accidentally sent over to Ukraine for their war, to help facilitate their war against Russia.
There's definitely a connection. People are definitely connecting dots between the two events. One thing I can tell you about Maui that bothers me more than anything is that those people who had their lives destroyed were the Hawaiian people.
Yes,
the native Hawaiian people.
100%, 100%. Like this is like 100 times full now.
Yeah,
there's no coming back from that.
No, And they just wanted to get rid of those people
Yeah.
so that they could
And
take the property and do something else with it.
tinfoil hats, conspiracy theory, whatever. I don't know. Listen. I speculate on 100% of the information that I come across, right? But then I also formulate a logical conclusion, idea on the information that does come across that makes sense. There, you got to put physics in the equation. You have to connect dots. Who's involved? Where's the money? Follow that money.
Always the money.
And you're going to find who's involved. 100% you're going to find. You're going to find who's involved in child trafficking. You're going to find who's involved in drug trafficking. You're going to find who's involved in black budget military operations that taxpayers, you and I, fund, by the way.
Why did he think in that speech? Why did he think that we suddenly? I mean, the part that I missed is why did he think like we suddenly need to go to war?
That's the suspicion.
Why?
Like,
because he's the Secretary of Defense.
Sure.
Okay, so defense spending is one thing, but what's he talking about? We need to consolidate the B-1 bombers. Who are we going to bomb?
Right.
Why are we?
And why are we
worried about
considering bombing anybody?
Yeah. Why are we? Yeah. Why are we going to bomb people?
Right. Right. Well, because he had. I mean,
that's not defense. That's offense.
That's offense for sure, 100%.
Anybody who watches any kind of sports.
And by the way, rules
that.
of engagement, the way that the way that America has involved herself into war, it's gone against the rules of engagement. Even Vietnam. I know there's a lot of veterans out there, and I salute you, but it's not your fault that the war started. It is the rich man north of Richmond. The controllers of who navigate the wars, right?
Well, you know,
and then they send these soldiers. They'd say, "Hey, we can give you education. We'll pay your medical bills. We'll take care of you and your family." Mind you, a lot of these veterans that come home, Vietnam veterans, World War II veterans, Iraqi veterans, do not. The country shits on them. The VA, the VA is like a shit show to some of you guys. And
there
women.
is no reward. There's no reward great enough for someone having to give their life for a corrupt government official just saying we got to get rid of the bureaucracy and go to war.
Right. And no one's here pointing the fingers at you veterans.
No, I'm a veteran, and
you're a veteran.
And this is the reason why I question this stuff is because they wanted me and millions of other kids like myself when I was 18 years old to go and sign up for this. I mean, in 1978, I went into the United States Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
So long before this happened, but not long before. It's not. We think of it as long before because it was a couple decades before.
Yeah.
But in their eyes, these people who are planning these things, they're planning out stuff many decades in advance because they have to do it very subtly. It's very incrementally. In fact, most of the people who were adults and who actually like following the news, looking at the news, watching the economy, or maybe had a stake in the economy at the time, like if you invested in a home or you've been already, I was already working for like 20 plus years of my life. So I already, was just busting my ass to try and make a living. And this guy's talking about, well, we lost $2.3 trillion of your money, but that's okay because we're going to make up for it now. We're going to go to war. What? Get that money back? You going to give it back to me?
Right.
Or are you going to spend more? You're just going to spend more and spend more and spend more. And that's all they've been doing. When we look at the $2.3 trillion back then, it's turned into 30, 40, or 100. I don't even know what kind of debt. And here's the reason why this day, 9/11, is so important right now is because I think it was the beginning of the end for America. Like everybody that was my age around that time when it happened thought, this is the end of America. This is the end of America because we have never been attacked on our homeland.
Right.
And we were told that we
Pearl
were
Harbor. Since Pearl Harbor.
No, that wasn't our homeland.
Well,
that was Hawaii.
Right.
This is what the whole thing.
Gotcha.
That wasn't our homeland. That was the Hawaiian people's homeland.
Sure.
We just had a military base there. Now we just burn that shit up so we can take it from them.
Right.
And we've been doing that ever since back in World War II. But gradually and incrementally over the past, how many years has it been since since it's been 80 years since Pearl Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
And now we just finally put the last nail in the coffin for those people.
Yep.
Okay? And now we're getting ready. And what people don't understand, and the thing that I'm watching most, and I'm not trying to sound like I'm an expert on any of this stuff, but when it comes to the economy, right now the U.S. dollar is being blown up.
Oh, yeah.
To the point where it's going to be worthless probably next year. I mean, there are people who are actually saying that this is the final year for the U.S. dollar. I mean, BRICS is totally going on a gold standard, and we don't have any gold.
Yeah, we have none. And if we do, it ain't in the citizens' possession. It's not in the Federal Reserve by any stretch of the imagination.
Enough. It's not enough to support this kind of an economy.
No.
And our debts are coming due. We can't pay our debts, and nobody wants our debts anymore.
What we're facing right now, we're not even going. The citizens of America, not just America, but of the world, but the West right now, we're not even going to be answering to a government anymore. We're going to be answering to corporations.
Well, corporations are running the world.
Like BlackRock, like Vanguard. What's the other one there? Viacom. But BlackRock and Vanguard
all
are
the pharmaceutical companies, where they just made a huge grab. Listen, the whole thing was for them to grab up as much money as they could before the shit hits the fan, because it's hitting the fan. You know what China has been doing, and Japan, and a lot of those other like Asian countries. What they've been doing is they've been getting out of like treasury notes and buying gold. They want physical gold because that is the only thing that really backs anything on planet Earth, as stupid as that may be.
Right. Well, it's a precious metal. You can make technology out of it.
Yeah, but it's not even like silver actually is used a lot more in technology than gold. Gold's too expensive to waste on stuff like that. You know, but silver, so people that are holding silver right now, if you can manage to hold on a little bit longer, you're probably going to be okay. But most people don't even have anything of real value. We have paper.
Right.
We have
and digital currency and
well, think about people that are in the stock market. Just go back a little bit, 100 years ago, when the stock market crashed back then, people jumped out of skyscrapers because they just saw their whole life go down the tubes in one day.
Yeah.
Because the paper suddenly the paper was worthless. It was actually worth what it was, paper.
Yeah. Paper, yeah.
They had nothing. And this guy's talking about misplacing $2.3 trillion of the taxpayers' money. But you know what? We're going to go to war. We're going to go to war.
Like, no big deal. Nonchalantly just saying,
yeah, you notice how he even, like, kind of softened his voice a little bit when he said that, because no emphasis there. I don't want you to remember that particular moment in time.
Right.
And literally the next day, nobody remembered this guy.
Right. Nobody remembered him saying it. Now, because after that, he was a part of, like, defense organizing. What was the other guy there? Not Dick Cheney, not the vice president. There was another guy there. Fucking can't remember his damn name.
Well, I'm sure you could
but
find it.
he supposedly he's dubbed as like the Bush administration genius behind the war on terror. They made a movie about him and everything.
Oh my God.
Anyway, Cheney, but Cheney was also another. I mean, he
got involved. You know what? He got involved in a lot of other stuff. Made a lot of money on things like there was one of those artificial sweeteners, or I mean, all this junk that has come out since then. Like the whole world. Jeez,
no, you're good.
Shaking the thing.
It's fine. You're good.
The whole world has changed since.
We're just gonna make the audience dizzy. That's all.
Yeah. But the whole world has completely changed since 9/11, and for the people who weren't really old enough at the time to know the difference, they don't really know the difference, because most people that were like young, either preteen or teenage, they never actually felt what it was like to live and work and have to survive in a world before 9/11.
Right.
You just you just grew up with 9/11 in the background. But I lived 40 years before 9/11 and got to see, what the United States of America and the rest of the world used to look like before these guys decided we're going to have a war on terror, which never stops, never ends. You can't stop. Are you ever going to be able to beat an invisible enemy?
No.
Terror.
No.
Terror lives.
And what is that? They never actually defined terror. They said Islamic extremist. That was the
Listen.
boogeyman at the time.
Yeah, boogeyman. That's the right word
Yeah,
for it.
boogeyman.
He lives under your bed.
Mhm.
Kids,
Bec-
kids,
and
kids are
remind you,
afraid to
but
get out of bed in the middle of the night. Kids will wet their bed rather than get up and go pee in the middle of the night because the boogeyman might get them.
Yeah, right.
And that's the same exact kind of terror that they're
And the
feeding us
the
with.
alert system it was always on like red, yellow, red or orange or somewhere around there, like terror alert. You always had that terror alert after 9/11 when the buildings came down. We were all in.
And what are they doing now? Oh, we have a resurgence and COVID's coming back.
Yeah.
Oh.
Got to wear your mask. Do the
Yeah,
vaccine.
they wanna
That-
do-
Hey, that hurricane's coming. Make sure you get your vaccine and wear your mask. That's gonna save your life. Shout outs to Biden. This is what these people do, though. So the West, mostly the West, but a good majority of the world, if there's any propaganda to dish out there to the normal citizen, like you and me, like you and us, they try to drill that fear into, especially if you're not privy. You don't, we're all working people, right? You're out there, you're working. You don't want to worry about the fucking world and what's going on. You just want to worry about feeding your family and all that shit, right? You clock
Yeah.
in, right?
You don't want to.
And they want you to not worry about the rest of the world. They want to do whatever they're doing.
The only thing that they
when
want-
I say they, I mean the media, I mean the government, I mean the corporations that are involved with everything.
Well, the government wants you to focus on one day, not 9/11. April 15th.
April 15th.
Yeah. Why April 15th?
Why April 15th?
It's a day you got to pay your tax.
Oh,
That's
well,
all
yeah,
they
yeah,
want.
Yeah.
Focus
Right.
on that. If you don't pay your taxes, we're going to put you in jail. We got IRS agents that are going to come out to your house now, and they've got more ammo than the whole military put together, I think.
Apparently.
Now.
And they're very untrained with their firearms. Have you seen the videos? If you see you got to look up the videos. I want to I want to bring it back here because I know that we're going off.
I
but
get
I mean,
off on a tangent
listen,
really easy.
well, I mean, this is
Pisses me off.
because
This
here's-
shit's so
because
real.
here-
It's so
because here-
real. It's
because here's the
happening in
thing.
front of your face, and nobody knows.
Here's the thing. Almost close to 5,000 people died that day, right? I think it was like 30. I don't want to get the number. I don't want to get the number wrong, but I know it's a few
look it up
thousand
because
on
I
that
don't know.
day.
I don't know how many.
All right.
How many?
Uh,
Are we talking about just in the Twin Towers? We're not
Just-
talking about Building 7.
how many
not talking
people
about the
died
Pentagon.
on 9/11?
We're not talking about what about that airplane that crashed out in Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania, right? And
How
it
many bodies did they recover there?
Casualties of the September 11th attacks. I'll put it on.
Attacks.
Hold on. I'll put it on the screen.
Are we still on Rumble? Are we on Rumble?
We're everywhere right now. We're on YouTube, Facebook, and Rumble currently.
And we haven't got shut off any of them yet?
Not yet. So far, so good. We'll see. We'll see. So it says here, casualty. According to Wikipedia, and I know everyone has a little bit of a thing of Wikipedia, but hey, we're going to use it as a source for the moment because Wikipedia is going to give us some accurate information on September 11th as far as the casualties go. September 11th attacks of 2001 caused the deaths of 2,996 people, including 2,977 victims and 19 hijackers who supposedly 19 hijackers who committed murder-suicide. I guess that's what they're declaring it. That's Wikipedia.
Wait, thousands more. Wait, thousands more.
Yeah, I just hate Wikipedia. Thousands more were injured and long-term health effects have arisen as a consequence of the attacks. New York took the brunt of the death toll. I have terrible eyes. When the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center complex in Lower Manhattan were attacked, with an estimated 1,600 victims from the North Tower and around 1,000 from the South Tower.
Okay, so the majority of what they're talking about as far as the death toll, they're only really talking about what happened in New York. I want to know how many people. Let's see if we can find how many people were in the plane that hit the Pentagon. Do we know what flight number that was?
That's a good fucking question.
Let's find out.
How many people died on the planes of 9/11? 9/11 memorial event marks. Casualties of the September 11th attacks, according to Wikipedia. I hate that. I'm not 100% okay with
Well,
their...
what's BBC got to say? Go to BBC because you know what?
BBC?
They're probably more honest over there because they hate us anyway. It's up. It's up. It's up. Right there. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. September 11th attacks. What happened on 9/11? What were the targets? 4 planes flying over the eastern U.S. were seized simultaneously by small teams of hijackers. Supposedly, ladies
they
and
were
gentlemen,
seized simultaneously, but yet we don't know where $2.3 million is because we don't have the technology for that.
correct. By the way, these seized the hijackers that seized these planes, somehow 1 or 2 of their passports were found in the rubble of the Twin Towers. I'm not sure how that occurred. It says how many people died. All right, we're going to repeat this again. In all, 2,977 people, not including the hijackers, lost their lives, most of them in New York. All 246 passengers and crew aboard the 4 planes were killed. At the Twin Towers, 2,606 people died, and then there were also injuries. At the Pentagon, 125 people were killed.
Okay, were those people on the plane or were those people inside the building when it got blown up is what I want to know.
Let's see. The youngest victim was a 2-year-old, Christine Lee Hansen. The oldest was an 82-year-old Robert Norton, who was on another plane with his wife Jacqueline en route to a wedding. Well, when the first plane struck, an estimated 17,400 people were in the towers. Nobody survived above the impact zone in the North Tower, but 18 managed to escape from the floors above the impact zone in the South Tower. Okay, let's see if I can...
I'm really interested in finding out how many.
We're all doing this live together.
How many people were recovered from the plane that hit the Pentagon?
How many bodies?
How many bodies? Yeah.
How many bodies recovered from the plane that hit Pentagon? Is this American Airlines Flight 77 was a scheduled domestic transcontinental passenger flight from Dulles International Airport in North Virginia and Los Angeles International Airport in California. The Boeing 757-223 aircraft serving the flight was hijacked by 5 Al-Qaeda terrorists on the morning of September 11, 2001 as part of the September 11th attacks. Okay. The hijacked airliner was deliberately crashed into the Pentagon in Arlington County, Virginia, killing all 64 aboard and another 125 in the building. So there was 65 aboard flight 757.
Isn't it kind of strange that when they showed the pictures of that, you didn't see anything like that at all? I
want to see if I can try and pull a video.
I remember seeing the hole in the side of the Pentagon, and I didn't see any plane, and I didn't see any bodies, and I didn't see anything that would say that that was actually an airplane crash.
I want to show the video. It was a video that supposedly was captured at a nearby gas station. Let's see if security video of plane hitting Pentagon. And again, I thank you. Yeah, this is the video right here. I thank everyone for tuning into the True Perspective, the TRU perspective. Oh, we have people on Facebook. I apologize. So we're streaming on Facebook, Rumble, and YouTube. has to do with karma is why they tell you first.
Yes, they had to tell us what they were gonna do.
Yes.
That's a popular idea that a lot of people talk about.
That's like Illuminati.
Yeah.
What is it called? It's like a manifestation thing. Like they have to tell you their plans before they actually do
Before
it.
they do it, or else,
Yeah.
otherwise they.
That
would,
is.
Yeah. It's like as if somehow they're no longer held accountable for that sin if they talk about it. It's almost like they don't get blamed for it.
Yeah, something like that. It's ritualistic.
Very
some people believe that what happened on 9/11 was a ritualistic, a massive ritual
Absolutely.
occurred.
I totally believe that. No, it makes us sound like
That's my
conspiracy
aunt.
theorists.
That's-
It's going to make us sound like nut jobs because
Shoutouts to Kathy, my aunt Kathy. That's my aunt. She said, after all these years, you can see through all their bullshit. Shoutouts to Maria Marshall. She said it has to do with karma is why they tell you first. And can you turn the volume up a little, please? I apologize. I'm seeing this a little bit late. I do apologize.
we got wound up, you know.
Yeah. I mean, what I need is to get freaking moderators, I guess, in all this stuff. Shout outs to Andrea. Hi. Hello. Dylan, what's up, brother? You always support. I appreciate you, brother. Just got out of work. I appreciate you, brother. 2,700? What do you mean, 2,700?
Probably got killed. Yeah, that's approximately about what we were.
Yeah, okay. That's probably what she's... Shout outs to Maria. I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Shout outs to Jessica on Rumble. You know the assignment. What's she say here? If you ever get kicked out, will you play? I don't understand. If you ever get kicked out, Rumble will play you when Turtle gets kicked off. We can always watch on Rumble. I would highly recommend to always watch on Rumble because Rumble is it's mostly a free speech platform so far. Mostly a free speech platform. Larry, shoutouts on the YouTube channel. I appreciate you, brother. I think you're the first commenter that ever came onto the YouTube. So shoutouts to you, brother. Yes, those pesky Republicans. I don't know if it has any. I mean, the Republican. They were Republican at the time,
they were, yeah.
but it's I'm not here to.
No, look. Hey, let me tell you something about Republicans and Democrats. They're all on the same payroll.
All on the same payroll.
They're all taking your dollars.
I want to, real quick. I know this is about 9/11 memorial, but there's so many things to tie to all this shit. I just want to say, for me personally, I am not with a party system. I don't believe in a party system. I believe in a free society, I believe that whoever the candidate is has to work for the people, not for the party, for the people. I've discussed this many times on this podcast. I'm pretty sure you and I have gone on this many times.
I've been anti-party politics.
Yeah.
As long as I've been on any kind of podcast or anything.
I want to play this video. It's about 2 minutes, and I'm gonna give you the mic for a moment because I'm gonna go run to the restroom.
You got to go send a fax real quick.
I got to send a fax real quick, but real quick, I want to show this video because we were talking about
go
this.
ahead, play the video. I'd love to watch.
The video. This is the surveillance video. I don't know if this is a gas station. Hold on. Does it say where it is? It says, what's it doing? Oh, it's going. Whatever. This is YouTube, right? Yeah, it's YouTube.
Yeah.
So according to AP Archive, September 11 attacks also occurred. 9/11 attacks, series of airline hijackings and suicide attacks committed in 2001 by 19 militants associated with Islamic extremist group Al Qaeda against targets in the United States. The deadliest terrorist attacks on American soil. I guess it's going to make me go to an article. Hold on. According to Britannica.com. I don't want to read the whole thing, do we?
No, we want to the video.
All right. The premise of this video...
Unlock exclusive content, join premium today. What?
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. The premise of this video right here, what I recognize this very well. I'm very familiar with this video. This video shows supposedly the plane crashing into the Pentagon.
Right, that's what we want to see. Well, and I'm sure we all saw it, but...
Just in case of it. All right, so we're here.
dude, you got to set this up and then run because I don't know what you. All right.
And we're just gonna play it.
All right. I see a huge explosion going off, but I didn't see any plane. Has anybody seen the plane yet? Are they gonna back it up? What's going on here? I mean, they show like smoke. I don't see a plane. I know other conversations that I heard, or this was like some camera from across the street or something, but one guy said that he saw a plane flying low and then it went over the top of the Pentagon, but it looked like it dropped a missile. And I believe that's what happened. I believe that what happened was they dropped a bunker buster on that Pentagon. In the news, they were talking about bunker busters, how they were trying to go for Saddam Hussein, and he was in a bunker underground, deep underground, and we were going to have to drop bunker busters in order to get him out. But coincidentally, that was not too long after the Pentagon was hit. And I think that they actually just like kind of did a test on the Pentagon because it, took out the evidence that of the
there we go.
Oh, you just caught there's like a split second where you see something coming in, but it doesn't look like an aircraft to me. I think it was a missile. I still think it was a missile. I
remember this video, and that's the first thing that I thought.
Bunker buster, man.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Oh, this is Aftermath, bro. Notice that
there's no airplane.
You don't see an airplane. You don't see any evidence of it.
What's this guy gonna say?
Who is this fucking guy? Why does he walk like that?
Well, hopefully we'll put to rest some of the conspiracy theories about September 11th. Also, it's important that there be a complete record for history. And it also
let's rewrite. We got to rewrite the history.
About the terrible nature of the terrorist threat we face as a country.
This guy's so fake. Put to rest the conspiracy theories and correct the history. Where's the airplane? Show me the airplane.
Well, it's important that people understand that Flight 77 was used as a weapon against
the Pentagon. While he's saying
many
this.
People died. The suggestion has been that our government was involved in that.
Yeah.
And hopefully this video puts all that to rest.
Yeah,
okay.
That's so fucking funny.
So, to scale, I'd like to look up how big a 757? I think that's what it was.
I believe that's what it
I believe it was a 757. All of them. I think it was all of them. But I think in particular,
international flights. These were going across the ocean, apparently.
How big is a 757 Boeing? Yep. So, are we still okay? They're still viewing this, so we're all viewing this together. The Boeing. Hold on, I have fucked eyes. Yeah, that's way better. Thank you. All right. So the Boeing 757 is an American narrow-body airliner designed and built by Boeing Commercial Airplanes, the then-named 707, a twin-jet successor for the Tri-Jet 727. I want to know how big the fucking jet is.
Well, you got to get some better statistics than that. 200-seat map.
Okay. Boeing 7... Okay, let's see this. 757. No, 747, isn't it?
No, it said 57. That's it right there.
Right, but was it a 747 or 757 that hit? I want to get the exact model. You know what I mean? I don't want to go. I don't want to go by the.
Yeah, I thought it said 757, but I don't know.
I thought it was a 47. What plane hit the Pentagon?
A jet plane. Don't know when I'll be back.
9/11 Memorial. No,
I was just doing a little
Flight
musical
70.
interlude since.
Okay, so it was a 757. So it says the Boeing 757-223 aircraft, Flight 77. So all right, so what? How big is the 757 Boeing? We're all doing this together live, ladies and gentlemen, with True Perspective and Freedom Man.
Hey, look at it.
All
Interesting that this says it was
Which one? Which article?
This little thing over
This
here.
one right
Something
here?
about August 1978 and February
What are you pointing at?
1982.
What do you mean?
Prototype. No,
Which one?
Just,
This one right here?
no, just this little thing on the side. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Oh, this?
Yeah,
Upgrade to our private one. Oh, that shit.
Something about orders in August of 1978. I was in boot camp down in Paris Island when that.
Oh, this right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Wikipedia. I don't know.
It's kind of funny though. I was talking about 1978 when I went in the Marine Corps and
I
how this is actually related all these years
I'm
later.
not saying Wikipedia is completely inaccurate, but I tried to.
Well, there's a length right there.
I think this one is what you were
Yeah.
talking about. This
Yeah,
one right here.
Yeah. That has all the.
We all still live? Okay, just double checking.
Making sure everybody's.
So apparently this is what a picture of a 747 looks like. But what we
Here
want
we
to
go.
know,
These are the specs.
we want to know the specs specifically because we just saw this video. Where's that video? We just saw this video right here
And you see a little.
of supposedly. I'm gonna play it back because I had to run out. I had to run out.
See an airplane.
I want to
coming.
play this back real quick, one more time, and then we're gonna go into the specs of the Boeing.
All right.
So let's play this. Put it on full screen.
That happened so quick.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, see, the thing is that this video is surveillance video.
It's time lapse.
Yeah. Right. So it's like delayed. It's like CCTV type shit.
Yeah.
It's like
you
not
don't even see the plane. So that video doesn't show us anything.
But
It
to
shows
be
us
fair,
the absence of a plane is what it shows us.
Sure. To be fair, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's
right.
no plane there.
But if you look, you got to look at this. If everyone can see that on video, if
split
you could see
second,
this,
you
you
almost
see
see
in this
something.
area right here.
You might see just something right there.
Okay.
But that.
Wait. It was right here in this
Yeah,
corner right here. Let
yeah.
me back this up just a little bit right here. I'm trying to get it like right on target.
I know.
I'm gonna try and get it right on target for you guys. Right here.
That's
You
a
see
plane.
that?
Is that a plane?
Do you see this right here? This little white streak? It just appeared right now in this video.
Now it's going 500 miles per hour, so But I mean,
Right. Supposedly.
is that-
supposedly this is what they're telling us, mind you.
that's a plane.
This is what they've told us.
I don't know why.
Okay. So I'm gonna pause this right here, right? Let's pause this right here, Freedom. Let's go to the schematics. I want to get the exact
aircraft specification. Go back up a little bit. Right there, aircraft specification.
right here.
Yeah,
Okay.
that should tell us some sizes. Here we go. Flight speed.
Cruising
520.
speed. So they did tell us that it was around 500 miles. I do remember that in the original story. So it says right here that
It's
the cruising
155 feet long.
wingspan of 139 feet 9 inches.
134.9. Yeah.
What did I say?
You said 139.9.
Sorry.
134.
134 feet 9 inches wingspan. It's 44 feet and 6 inches tall.
The tail. That's just the tail.
Correct.
Which
Yeah.
we can't really see.
The full length of this plane, the 757. I could have sworn it was a 747. Mandela effect. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. They changing shit. The full length is 150 feet and 3 inches. That's a
155
football
feet.
field and a half.
155. No.
How long is a football
100
field?
yards is 300 feet.
Sorry, I apologize.
half a football field.
I'm not the guy for fucking math.
Okay,
I apologize.
It's half a football field in length. Now,
Okay.
go back to the picture that you froze.
So, granted, everyone sees that wingspan, 134 feet, tall, 44 feet,
Tail.
length.
That's the tail.
That's the tail, right?
Tail height.
Oh, sorry, tail. Full length is 155 feet. Now
So
let's
like
go.
half a football field length. Now let's look at this.
Let's go
thing.
back to the video.
Is it possible that could be half a football field coming in?
You
maybe it could be.
Hold
Maybe it
on,
could be.
hold on. But we see this, right? Let's put it to scale. What's this right here? This is like
But we don't know the distance from here to there.
Sure.
There's no way we can
That's a good-
really scale that.
That's
but-
fair.
But
That's fair.
Is there a way to put the video on slow speed over here? Sometimes they have that.
Let's see. Playback speed.
Yeah, normal. Go way down to slow. Yeah, slow.
The slowest?
Slow, yeah.
Okay,
let's see. I wanna
0.25?
Just for
Okay.
the hell of it, let's see what it.
0.125
yeah,
rather.
Yeah. Now back it up a touch. All right. Yeah. Let's look at this again now.
Okay. And pay attention to right here, everybody.
The quality's probably really.
Yeah, it probably is. This is.
But I want to see if we actually see a plane coming across here, or if it's just going to be time lapsed right out of it. That catches the plane.
Right
It's still
there.
moving. It's still
Yeah.
moving. All right. So yeah, the up.
And then
It went from there to there in a flash. So. I mean, are they trying to tell us that whole plane just disintegrated?
we have. Okay, so let me pause right here because let me back that up a little bit, just a tad. Let's see. We can go right here. Let's play it. I just want to get that in the screen. There, right there.
Right there.
So right here, right, we see this. I know it's grainy. It's from 2001, and I don't have control of the quality of the video. I'm using a source out
Well,
of
you know
off
what?
of
Let's
YouTube.
pause right there for a second.
Yeah.
Now, supposedly, there were other cameras that caught video evidence, and we've never seen them.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why have
So-
we never seen them?
I do specifically remember that there was secure. Granted, this is a secure
It's the
building.
Pentagon.
It is the Pentagon. So
Should be the most secure
I
place in the
do
world.
I do remember them saying that there were other security videos, surveillance. Mind you, there's Capitol Police all around there, like thousands of them, right? I mean, you're protecting one of the biggest military establishments of our nation.
No. The Pentagon is the headquarters of what's supposed to be protecting us.
Correct.
If they don't have surveillance on their own building, I mean, this is looking from a gas station across the street. Are you kidding me? We got no other evidence.
I think that's what it from the story that I remember. It was from either a gas station or some surveillance video next to a gas station of some sort. You know what I mean?
But that's the best they could come up with, really?
Right.
Because, I mean, I heard that there were other cameras that they weren't
did too.
showing us.
There were news reporters all over the fucking place. Where are those videos?
Right?
All we have is video is away from the wreckage.
Yeah, no debris.
There's no debris. There's nobody close enough. There's no lapel cam. I don't think they had lapel cameras at the time.
No, but I mean,
there's no, CNN.
Nobody took a picture of, like, oh, look, there's the tail section. Oh, look, there's an engine. Oh, look, there's a body hanging off the side of the building. I mean, nothing.
I mean, on that kind of impact, I wouldn't expect there to be any bodies, but I would expect there has to be tires.
Wait a minute. There's got to be bodies.
You think so?
How?
Right there at the
Wait,
initial
okay,
impact, at the initial impact zone, maybe.
Wait, let's find out how. So this
Well,
is
they
one
said,
thing.
okay, they said 64 bodies on the 757 flight 77 died, 64, and then 125 people that got hit in that
in the
section
building
died.
Right.
In the a part of the Pentagon.
Now, do you think that bodies just like instantaneously disappear? I mean, just vaporize? I mean, bodies.
know.
How long does it take to turn a body into ash when you do like a cremation?
Fuck. That's. I mean, it's an honest question.
I mean, I would think that it would take a little bit of energy. And some time.
It's a furnace.
Yeah.
And it's got to
human
be.
body doesn't just. I mean, I know of people that have tried. I don't know of any personally, but I know people have tried to like burn a body to get rid of the evidence,
right,
in a murder, and they can't do it.
What is the? How would I word that? What is the degree?
How long does it take to cremate a body?
How long does it take to cremate a body? Dark humor. I apologize for laughing, but how long does it take to cremate a body? It's a crazy question. But I think it has some. How long does it take to cremate a body for a funeral? Jesus Christ. The actual cremation process typically takes 3 to 4 hours. But it doesn't mean that it takes just 4 hours to receive your loved one's remains. Okay, I don't want to get into any of that. I also want to know how many degrees. Oh, here we are. Cremation process requires requires transportation, storage, cremation, and return of cremated remains. The cremation may take 30 minutes to 2 hours, depending on the size of the body, at 1,400 to 1,600 degrees Fahrenheit.
All right. So We know that it needs an intense amount of heat for an extended period of time to make bodies turn to ash.
Almost the same degrees that it takes to melt steel.
Right.
Almost.
Isn't it coincidental
2,500
that those bodies
degrees
disappeared almost instantaneously, just like the buildings instantaneously decided to collapse in their own footprint?
I don't think I was showing the video. Was I not showing the video? It's going to suck if I didn't.
What video?
First respond. Send the facts. Yeah, I mean, that's probably what they were not utilizing because there was never any. That's because there were never any.
Never any bodies.
There were never any bodies, only an explosion, or there was no fucking plane at all.
Well, there's either no plane, or it was a dummy plane, or they swept the planes, or it was a missile, or whatever.
So
there's speculation that they actually landed these planes at an airport, some remote place, took other planes to continue on the path, and finish the flights to make it look like those planes actually went in with the bodies. But those people, I've heard that those people are all on the witness protection program. Now, people are going to be like, no, there was a 2-year-old child. You shouldn't talk that way.
Right.
I mean, this is the biggest conspiracy. Right. This changed world history. It changed human history. Mm-hmm. This event really, I don't want to say anything that's going to piss any Christians off, but it's almost on the level of the crucifixion as far as how it's changed history.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So,
where's the bodies?
Yeah, that's always been my big thing there, because now that a lot of us know a lot of the information, that who paid attention and not accepted the quote unquote official story that the government released to us, that they had all these paid off demolitionists that came in there. I mean, I want the stories that I actually take in consideration more so is the people who are there, the people who were there, right? The firefighters, the policemen, first responders, the search and rescue.
You mean like the guys who said they heard bombs going?
Yeah.
Those guys.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe them.
Some people want to discredit them, saying like, oh yeah, they were just hearing, parts of the floors collapsing due to the fires because
All right, now let's just hold on that thought for a second.
Sure.
I want you to bring up one. There's a video where they show one of the towers coming down, and you can literally see explosions coming out. Like
yes.
It's almost like the rivets are popping out of the building, and it's and then it just falls straight down. Can we find that video? What, somebody got something to say on your cell phone there?
Yeah, because I actually have been in contact with somebody who has said that they were one of the search and rescue.
Oh.
And I'm trying, and I told him, I don't want to give his name out yet, but I told him that he could call in. And I also am in contact with another person on Instagram. Shout outs to Labia Liberty if you do happen to be listening. She does a lot of documentation she's done documentation on 9/11. She does awesome job on documenting a lot of things that have been happening currently in our world. These are people I don't know personally, but I would love to know more of and interact with. But this individual, who I won't name yet, has said that he worked directly on 9/11 Ground Zero doing search and rescue. And if I could get him to call in, just to kind of I do want to talk to him anyway. And we've been going back and forth. He says he has tons of information on getting a documentary together. He's been sending me pictures and everything. I'm like, I want to help, but I don't want to mention his name because I don't want him being bothered yet.
Just while you got me on the thought, there was a documentary. I got a text message from a friend today while I was at work, talking about the movie that we've all been waiting for, some documentary that just came out.
Oh yeah.
I'll look it up on my phone.
Is it about this?
Funny that it was sent to me today, so I would guess it has something to do with this. But this isn't just 9/11. Remember, what we're talking about here is just the cornerstone of what took place on 9/11 has been like the beginning of everything that's still happening to this day, and it's the downfall of America. I mean, this isn't just. I mean, this is the end of America, and it's not going to happen
yeah.
overnight. It's
Oh,
taken
yeah.
decades already, but they are taking the country apart. They're tearing down everything that we know, everything that we were born and raised with. As far as America is concerned, probably next year or the next decade, or maybe, who knows, maybe it'll take a century. I don't know how long it's going to take.
Mhm.
I have a feeling it's going to be in my lifetime, just because I wouldn't be so attracted
Dude,
to all of this information.
it's such in rapid succession now. I remember you and me when I first met you, and you were getting me up to speed on a lot of things that had occurred from this very moment. And you were also informing me about a lot of things that led up to 9/11. Prior to that, decades prior to that, World War II, the Vietnam War, the Gulf of Tonkin If you look up the Gulf of Tonkin, I mean, if that doesn't tell you that the government's capable of doing some fucking gross things,
come on.
And it doesn't even start or begin there. Just go back further. You know what I'm saying? Anyway.
We can take it all the way back to the very beginning if you really want to know. When was the Illuminati born? Do you know what the date of the Illuminati being born was?
1400 somewhere?
No.
Tell me.
Something like May 1st of 1776.
1776. In here.
Ring a bell?
Yes. Yeah, 1776.
Okay, when did Rhode Island declare its independence?
17.
May 4th of 1776. Where is one of the biggest Illuminati places on the planet? Newport, Rhode Island. What happened a couple months after that? We declared our independence from the crown. We wanted to be independent from the royalty over there in Europe.
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island first declared it May 4th.
It's another thing.
And the rest of
Rhode Island is a fucking huge, if not the only, but definitely a huge part of. We were the last.
Ginormous.
We were the last. We were the last to accept the Constitution.
Last to accept the Constitution because the Constitution went against what the founding fathers actually wanted to do.
Yeah.
With the Declaration of Independence and the Articles of Confederation. And then George Washington, who was a British general, came along and said, well, we're going to rewrite all this stuff and we're going to have a new nation under the Constitution. Now, I'm not trying to, people like, well, what are you going against the Constitution for? Because we've been lied to all along, and this is the result of it. Where we are today is the result of it, and they don't even care about the Constitution anymore. That was just a vehicle to get us to this point. The Illuminati, if you really go down to Washington D.C. someday and walk around. Have you ever walked around down there?
Yes, I have.
There's so much symbolism. That city is like, it's just insane with the amount of symbolism that's there, and they've been pulling the wool over our eyes since the very inception of this country. But that's not, I mean, that's really, if you want to try to do something to change it, you've got to go back and at least study that history and see how it happened incrementally over all these decades, centuries even.
Yeah,
because
millennia.
Yeah, I mean, well, just for the United States alone, we're in the 3rd century.
Yeah,
I mean,
these are people who studied alchemy, ancient geometrics, the Kabbalion, if you're familiar, the Kabbalah,
all that stuff,
all of it,
all the witchcraft and sorcery, everything as far that you can even go back in time thousands of years.
And people will say like, oh, that's just it's just it has no substance to what's going on. It does. It does.
It's foundational.
It does if you understand how they perform these things that are very ritualistic. You could say what you want about him. Alex Jones, when he did the whole Bilderberg group thing, do you remember that?
Not only the Bilderbergs, but he also was the one that cracked open that Bohemian Grove.
Bohemian Grove, that's what I meant. Yeah. And when he went there and he filmed that stuff that actually goes on. Like, and these are politicians. This is Hollywood.
Highest levels of government.
Highest levels of government, high-profile individuals, multi-millionaire, multi-billionaire people who get together and do these.
No, the millionaires aren't even allowed in the club anymore.
Yeah.
You got to be a billionaire.
Now you got to be either a billionaire or a trillionaire now.
Well, that's where they're going.
Yeah. And look up Bohemian Grove. You could say whatever you want about Alex Jones, whether he's a CIA agent or whatever the hell. I don't know. All I know is that the guy exposed a lot of stuff, particularly this Bohemian Grove stuff, and it blew the lid off of a lot of. He didn't get. Nobody wanted him to do that. He wasn't very loved for doing that politically by politicians during the time when he did do that. Skull and Bones. You can look up that. The Bushes have been involved with that. John Kerry, I believe, was involved.
The Bushes
pretty
much financed the Nazi Party prior to World War II.
Yeah.
I mean,
Aleister Crowley was an Illuminati cultural ritualist. He was I think he was the grandfather of George Bush Jr. All of these people are in bed with each other and tied together. The royal family. Yeah. We're going. I mean, we're starting to go.
Right, so we're way off.
We're way off. But the perfect. But
it all comes together.
But the best thing of why you mentioned that is that a lot of the 9/11 stuff opens up to a lot of that.
Absolutely.
If you look up 9/11,
it's
you start exposing yourself to the Bush administration. The Bush administration, by the way, at the time. I don't know now, but at the time had ownership of 3 oil companies.
Oh yeah,
3 oil companies. I think
they've been big time in
BP Oil. I think they may have had some shares in. I can't remember the other. I can't remember all of them, but I know at the time the Bush family, specifically Bush Jr., had ownership of oil companies. This was prior to 9/11, and all of these people are connected in some form.
You
or
want to know
fashion.
what's really, really crazy? I remember back when I was really young, like 8, 9, 10 years old. Henry Kissinger was a big name, and the guy's 100 years old, and he's still involved.
That is another dude. That is another bad
this
dude.
guy has been involved in all of this oil stuff since I was a child. I mean, going back, I'm over 50. I'm 63.
Halliburton
so.
also. Halliburton would wait for war to happen so that when America goes and destroy a nation, he would be the contractor that goes and builds
fix it. Well, that's how they make money.
Yeah, Halliburton goes and builds nations. Shout outs to Immortal Technique for throwing that down. You know who Immortal Technique is? Mortal Technique is a rapper who has been at the time also very anti-establishment and very anti-Bush administration, especially during 9/11. I'm trying to remember the line. The devil crept in the heavens. God overslept on the 7th. The new world order was born on September 11th. It was like one of the best lines that I've ever heard from someone.
I'd like to hear that. Can you pull that up?
Yes.
I just gotta run down the hall.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'll pull that up. Hopefully, I won't get kicked off. Oh, there was another video that you said. The towers actually falling.
I want to see the one where they actually show the twin towers coming down, where you can see it's almost like the rivets are popping out of the building. You say, poof,
yes.
Poof, poof,
so
poof,
do you
poof.
do you remember?
It makes bomb sounds just like that. When we started the show with the one in Boston, which is a controlled demolition, and you could hear the crack, 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 crack. It does the same thing on that one in 9/11. It makes almost the same sound.
Do you remember the documentary 9/11 in Plain Sight? Yeah. That was the one that was like, whoa.
Yeah,
for me,
that
anyway.
woke a lot of people up.
Yeah, because
I'll tell you a little story about that when I get back.
I'll see if I can actually fucking find bits and pieces of that. I don't know if it's on YouTube, but let me look up Immortal Technique. Oh man, I'm trying to remember the name of the song now. Immortal Technique. La 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 la. I'm trying to remember the damn song. I don't think it's Point of No Return. God, let me see if I can put this in here, because usually Google will just pick up the fucking words. God overslept on the 7th. I hate to put that line in there, but it's a cause of death. That's what it was. Cause of Death was the song where he talks about pretty. He gives a. This was basically during 9/11 where he talked about that. Immortal Technique's been one of the many artists that I looked into. There's there's a beauty, and I guess an unattractive beauty when it comes to great trauma or great cataclysm or great catastrophe, is that music, especially in my realm, because I may be a podcaster, digital creator, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I'm just a man trying to get a message out there. But a lot of people, a lot of y'all who have been following me over the years, I've done music. And music tends to bring, the beauty of music tends to be brought out during great cataclysms. Unfortunately. But, it's to make sure that when, as artists, hip-hop artists, indie artists, whatever type of genre that you're in, you're trying to send a message out and emulate the pain and struggle that people are experiencing, whether you're experiencing yourself, so that someone can relate to it. So I just pulled up that song. I want to play the whole damn song. I hope this doesn't get pulled. I want to play the whole damn song.
Why would it get pulled?
I don't know.
Because you're copying somebody's music. You can play songs on your show.
I'm pretty sure I could. I mean, I hope I can.
We're just gonna take a little intermission break to listen to some music.
Yeah, we're gonna. I want to play this song. It's by Immortal Technique. It's an important song during the time of 9/11.
Play it.
Yeah.
Play. If we get kicked off, we'll be back.
Whoa. Oh, because I'm playing. Because I kept it on the speed, dude. Normal speed. That's why it sounded so crazy for a second. I was like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, it was, right?
Immortal Technique. Revolutionary Volume 2. Yeah. Broadcasting live from Harlem, New York. Let the truth be known. You better watch what the fuck flies out of your mouth, or I'ma hijack a plane and fly it into your house. Burn your apartment with your family tied to the couch and slit your throat so when you scream, only blood comes out. I doubt that there could ever be a more wicked MC, cause AIDS-infested child molesters are even sicker than me. I see the world for what it is, beyond the white and the black. The way the government downplays historical facts, cause the United States sponsored the rise of the Third Reich, just like the CIA trained terrorists how to fight, build bombs and sneak box cutters onto a flight. When I was a child, the devil himself bought me a mic, but I refused to offer, cause God sent me to strike with skills unused like fallopian tubes in a dike. My words will expose George Bush and Bin Laden as two separate parts of the same seven-headed dragon, and you can't fathom the truth, so you don't hear me. You think Illuminati's just a fucking conspiracy theory? That's why conservative racists are all running shit, and your phone is tapped by the federal government. So I'm jamming frequencies in your brain when you speak to me. Technique, a rip a rapper to pieces indecently, pack weapons illegally, cause I'm never hesitant. Sniper scoping the commission, controlling the president. Father, forgive them, for they don't know right from wrong. The truth is set you free, written down in the song, and the song has the cause of death written in code. The word of God brought to light that'll save your soul, motherfucker.
It's in the second verse.
Yeah. I hacked the Pentagon for self-incriminating evidence of Republican manufactured white powder pestilence, Marine Corps flak vest with the guns and ammo, spitting bars like a demon stuck inside a piano, turn a Sambo into a soldier with just one line. So here's the truth about the system that'll fuck up your mind. They gave Al-Qaeda $6 billion in 1989 to 1992, and now the last chapters of Revelations are coming true. And I know a lot of people find it hard to swallow this, cause subliminal bigotry makes you hate my politics, but you act like America wouldn't destroy 2 buildings in a country that was sponsoring bombs dropped on our children. I was watching the towers, and though I wasn't the closest, I saw them crumble to the earth like they were full of explosives. And they thought nobody noticed the news report that they did about the bomb planted on the George Washington Bridge. 4 non-Arabs arrested during the emergency, and then it disappeared from the news permanently. They dubbed the tape of Osama, and they said it was proof. Jealous of our freedom, I can't believe you bought that excuse. Rocking a motherfucking flag don't make you a hero. Word to ground zero, the devil crept into heaven. God overslept on the 7th. The new world order was born on September 11th.
Powerful. One of my favorite songs.
And the song has the cause of death written in cold. The word of God brought to light that has saved your soul.
One of my favorite songs right there from Immortal Technique.
Yeah, I want to definitely want to listen to that again.
Yeah, hell yeah. You got to look at Immortal Technique. I don't know. I mean, he's come out with some new stuff over the years, but you know, like
wow, he just really nailed it.
He nailed it with that line. Just that line alone.
whole thing.
He said let's see. Fuck, I mean the whole verse right here is like quotable, but he said, "Jealous of our freedom, I can't believe you." Hold on. They dubbed a tape of Osama, and then they said it was proof. Jealous of our freedom, end quote. I can't believe you bought that excuse. Rocking the motherfucking flag don't make you a hero. Word to ground zero. The devil crept into heaven. God overslept on the 7th. The new world order was born on September 11th. So dope. It's such a dope ass fucking line.
Was there a third verse that we didn't listen to?
Yeah, there was.
All right,
yeah, there was.
I
just stopped it because
yeah,
you know,
no, I gotta listen to that whole thing.
Yeah, you gotta. Everyone check out Immortal Technique. I don't know if he's putting out any new stuff, but like every now and then I see him post up on the Instagram. Shout out to Immortal Technique. You know, if you hear this, like, share, subscribe. I'll have you on. I'd love to have you on, bro. One of my favorite artists, honestly, and that's actually one of my favorite songs. That line right there alone, those 2 lines rather, the devil crept into heaven, God overslept in the 7th, the new world order was born on September 11th. That's like, it's a legendary
God
line.
really totally has turned his back on him, her,
Hold on, slow up. I don't know about that. I think his reference here was
no, he
that
overslept on the 7th. That's the Sabbath day, okay? When you oversleep on the 7th, it means you late for work come Monday morning.
Right.
But or maybe not, I don't know. But anyways, the New World Order was born on September 11th. Now, God has to turn his back on America in order for shit like this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And why? You got to ask yourself why. I ain't going to tell you why. I ain't pointing no fingers.
Sure. I get that. I mean, so, man, we can get into that a little bit too.
Hey,
listen, I think
that could go on for hours and hours.
Well, because I think you have a valid point. I think there's a lot of things that are happening right now, right? I think there's a lot of things that are happening that say that obviously this is a spiritual war, right? We may be here in the physical, experiencing it physically, but it's a spiritual war.
Absolutely.
There's nothing. I mean, I can't wrap my mind. Yeah, sure. We have some asshole human beings.
How could something like that happen in the land
of the free,
and
the home of the brave,
and the home of the brave?
Unless
the brave ain't brave anymore, and we don't have freedom anymore.
If we never had freedom,
maybe we never had it, but.
Well, we have.
You think about what now, really?
But how did
this is
it
something
start?
that I've been questioning lately.
Another thing too is how did it start here too?
Well, that's exactly what I've been thinking about.
Another argument.
Because like when they declared independence, it was the first time that any group of people in human history really stood up and said, "We're going to have our own government, and we're going to be governed by ourselves. We're going to be self-governing."
Mm-hmm.
And it took them about 13 years, funny it happens to be 13 years, before they came up with the Constitution, which pretty much reversed all of that. And put representatives in charge. Like, we trust those. We are born, bred, and indoctrinated in the school systems that they feed us with to believe that that government is actually there to represent us and take care of us. And we don't have to worry about anything because the government is watching over us 24/7, and we could just go on about our business and do what we want while they're taking care of all that bad stuff. You don't ever have to worry about the bad stuff. But then all of a sudden, one day you do. When 9/11 happened, all of a sudden, most Americans that were my age, older, younger, whatever, but I mean, who were at least aware of what was really going on in the world. Like I grew up as a child seeing JFK get assassinated, and then the Vietnam War, and then all the other shit that's happened since then. And it's been nothing but one conspiracy after another.
Right.
Conspiracy theories were born in my lifetime, and they're still going on every day.
Specifically after the Kennedy assassination.
Right.
That's what the CIA made up
That's when
to discredit people that
exactly
were thinking.
So I've grown up with conspiracy theories my whole freaking life. And I'm like, were we ever free? Not in my lifetime, but were we ever? If we were ever free, it was probably back in the early colonial stages of right after the Declaration of Independence, when people actually owned land. They were actually able to farm the land, live off the land, raise their children how they wanted, believe what they wanted. Like the First Amendment is probably, and I wish Will was here right now, because he's the First Amendment auditor. But the First Amendment basically gives us all the most important stuff that any Bill of Rights could give you.
Yeah.
And then the Second Amendment comes along to protect that. Like the Second Amendment, the whole idea of the Second Amendment is to protect the First Amendment, because those are the things that matter in life. What are you doing?
I'm responding to people that
we're live.
Are trying to either want to come on or that they're just showing their support for the channel.
So we're actually still live. To check the channels, make sure we didn't get bumped somewhere or something.
Yeah. So far it's showing on the app that we are good. So we're good here too. I don't know who the hell this person is. What is that? What does that say? Check this out, guys, and earn up to $1,000 instantly. So there's some bots. We are under corporation. Yeah. All right. So people are still listening. Shout outs to Auntie. Thank you, Kathy. Auntie Kathy. Yeah, we're definitely under corporations for sure. We're definitely heading into the full spectrum of being completely owned and under corporations. If we're not already, I think we are already, because of the first of all, the ability for how elections go. I don't want to go too far into this rabbit hole, just a little bit.
No, we might get kicked off again.
Yeah, well, just to add into it is that we don't have free and fair elections. We don't. We just don't. And the portion that we do have, and if you question it or ridicule it, or you're either you're a racist, you're an insurrectionist, and you
might be in jail for treason.
Yeah, you might be in jail for treason, doing 20 some odd years like Proud Boys and that.
Yeah, I just heard that.
Yeah, I heard that too.
This
I was
week.
Like,
yeah.
Not for another. I don't know their background fully, but you should have a right to protest.
We do have a right.
We do have. Yeah. Well, we do have a right to protest. That's one of our First Amendments.
Yeah.
The thing is that people are saying like, oh, well, they tried to cause like some violent riot. I'm like, I don't think so. I really don't think so. I don't think so. I think there were people there that surely did that because the gates were left open.
There were people there who did do stuff like that, but I don't think that they were associated with any of the groups that are getting blamed.
I don't think so either. I don't think so either. There were people all masked up, and I think that they were, dressed up as so-called Trump supporters, and when they went over there, initiated some form of a riot. And then the media drew off of that as being some type of insurrection. Listen, if we had an insurrection in this country, we would know it. We would know it. Our media.
First of all, if there was true insurrection and treason going on, we would have actually experienced a civil war.
100%. and we wouldn't be talking on these medias right now.
No, we wouldn't, because this is shit would be shut down.
It would be
way
shut down. It would be way shut down, and
we'd probably be dead because, for all we know, we might have been in on it. Yeah, no, I mean,
right.
When the North and the South went to fight during the Civil War in Abraham Lincoln's time, do you think either side thought that they were committing treason or that they were doing something wrong? You want to know why they didn't? Because back then they still were individual states on equal par with one another, and the District of Columbia was actually really kind of relatively unimportant to them. Most of them were most of them were farmers coming in off the farm, going into some form of industry, or they were still just farmers. In the North, there was more industry, but down South, it was all farmers. And they were just men with guns. And the powers that be knew that those guns needed to come off from the hands of free men. So, first of all, they're not going to give their guns up. Because I'm not giving mine up, and nobody's going to give their gun up while they're alive, if you're a real man. So what'd they do? We got to have a war so they can just all go out and commit murder-suicide. Because you're going to run out in there in the battlefield with a gun that only fires one ball of lead, and you got to stop in the middle of gunfire and load up another one. So you just made yourself a big, huge target. And they killed themselves. Something like, I think, like over 100,000. I don't know how many. I can't remember what the casualty count was for that war. But both sides were Americans, and they just shot each other. And then their bodies laid rotting in the muddy fields that they were charging each other. And there were people that would line up and sit on the sidelines and watch this happen like it was a sports event.
Yeah.
They used to like, oh, there's going to be a battle here.
War was
no,
back
they
then.
literally lined up, and people would sit on the sidelines and drinking their lemonade or their mint juleps or whatever the hell they.
Mint juleps. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I want to get into that video that you said. What was that video?
Well, 9/11. You see, there's a popular.
There's two things too. I want to get into the owner, the owner of the World Trade Centers.
Says pull it.
Huh?
He actually said they had him on film saying, "Okay, pull it."
Yeah, and
so like the all right. So the buildings were laced with thermite paint.
Correct.
They were already painted up, ready to go if they needed to pull the trigger on these buildings. And they actually is a video of him saying, "Okay, pull it," and then the building comes down. And it was apparently broadcast on BBC before it actually happened.
Larry Sullivan.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Larry A. I'm sorry, Silverstein.
Silverstein. Yeah.
Silverstein.
Yeah.
Larry A. Silverstein is an American businessman. Sorry. Actually, let me put this on screen right here. Oops. I didn't take anything off, did I? No. Larry.
Yeah, don't cut off.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't want to do that again because we did that with the last podcast, and that was like
the best hour
and that
of
was
the show
and that
got
was
cut off.
and that wasn't even like a live podcast. It was like an actual
regular recording.
Don't have to deal with any moving parts, and I don't know what the fuck happened. I really don't.
And like the last hour was really like
it really was
because
I don't think we got any of the singing in there, and I was very fucking upset about that, man.
Yeah.
But all right, so Larry Silverstein is an American businessman at the time of 9/11. Among his real estate project, he is the developer of the rebuilt World Trade Center complex in Lower Manhattan.
Yeah.
New York
Okay.
City.
Wait. Pause right there. It's the rebuilt one because he built a new one there and he had to blow up the old ones in order to get rid of the old ones in order to rebuild the new one.
Wait. Well, I think yes, I think it's getting into that right now.
Yeah.
I think so. World Trade Center history. No. Let's go. I'm just gonna click on this. It's a fucking Wikipedia article, and I can't see it for dog shit. There we go. All right. So this man right here, you see the cursor, Larry Silverstein. I guess that's a picture from 2014. He currently is 92. The age of 92, born May 30th, 1931. American businessman. where he owns his home. Okay, where? Okay, so during the 90s, New York. That's not the article I want. Larry, here we go.
Look at 7 World Trade Center.
Okay, so where?
Right there. Go to the left a little bit. Construct 7 World Trade Center on. See, in 1980, he won a bid from the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey to construct 7 World Trade Center. That's building number 7.
Yep, building 7.
On Vesey Street, I think.
Mm-hmm. Vesey.
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 Reminds me of Vesey over here in Providence. Just north of the main World Trade Center site. He was interested in acquiring the original World Trade Center complex and put in a bid when the Port Authority put it up for lease
in 2000.
He won the bid.
He won the bid when a deal between the initial winner and the Port Authority fell through, and he signed the lease on July 24th, 2001.
A couple months later, he decides he wants to get rid of those buildings so he can build his real World Trade Center, which is there to this day. That's the facts behind the facts that nobody knows about.
And why are we pulling this up? It's important to know because you have to follow the money. Soon after September 11 attacks in 2001, Silverstein declared his intent to rebuild, though he and his insurers became embroiled in a multi-year dispute over whether the attacks had constituted one event or two under the terms of the insurance policy, which provided for a maximum of $3.55 billion in coverage per event. A settlement was reached finally in 2007, with insurers agreeing to pay out $4.55 billion, which was not as much as Silverstein had sought. He also ran into multiple disputes with other parties in the rebuilding effort, including with the Port Authority. In an agreement reached in April 2006, Silverstein retained rights to build 3 office towers on 150 Greenwich Street, 175 Greenwich Street, and 200 Greenwich Street, while One World Trade Center, previously Freedom Tower, would be owned by the Port Authority, as would Tower 5, which it would have the option of leasing to a different private developer and having redesigned as a residential building. So all of this that's happening here is explaining that when those buildings went down, he stood to make billions of dollars. Yeah, that's what he wanted.
What was really all about.
Yep.
It says he announced his intent.
Yeah, it says
and he had intent before.
Where was that?
Right there, the first line. Soon after September 11 attacks in 2001, Silverstein declared his intent. Soon after the attacks, he declared his intent to rebuild. No hesitation.
Yep.
I want that billions of dollars so I can rebuild this.
Soon after. So you have to follow the money.
He already had it.
It's an important that's an important aspect. That always was one big thing for me when I found out who
especially when you see the video clip of him saying, "Okay, pull it," and they literally pull the building down.
Can we find that? We're done with looking at the Boeing height and size. We know we
just
know
trying to raise, just trying to get people to realize that there's a lot of suspicious stuff that went on.
100%.
And it just doesn't add up to
and
being
the official
an accident.
story
It doesn't add up to being just a natural event.
Yeah, the official story and the official documentation that the government put out is 99.9% bullshit. I'll just put that. I won't say 100% because I'm not a demolition expert. I'm not an engineer.
No, but there were actual engineers.
I'm also a free thinking, logically thinking man. And I know how to connect dots. What are we looking for? Silverstein
pulls building 7.
Pulls building. Whoops. 7. The fuck. Remove. No.
Look at this. New York building collapse. Witness heard explosion. Developer why? It was on BBC, by the way, when they actually.
door was jammed. Everything off my windowsill fell, and I guess the impact of the explosion jammed the door as well.
How loud was it?
It was extremely loud. I couldn't even explain it to you if I couldn't. It was just so loud that it woke me out of my sleep. That's how loud it was.
It woke you up.
Yeah.
I saw a man, looked like your father, was it? Came up just a few minutes ago and embraced you.
Yes, he did, because he was so worried of the way that I called him. I was actually almost having an anxiety attack because I was crying and I didn't know what to do.
Very interesting.
There are pictures that capture a moment in time, photographs that become indelible.
Stop. Falling man. Yeah, I don't want to show.
People jumping out of the buildings was just insane.
There's a lot of that too, and there's a lot of real footage. There's still pictures of it. There's video footage of it. I do want to find of him saying that though.
I know. I wish we could find that. That was
Because I do remember that being a very prominent factor in the
he actually
investigation.
says.
Oh, I didn't even. I
Hold it.
wasn't even showing that. Hold on. Let me show that again for the video viewer.
I heard a big explosion. I didn't know what was going on, so I decided to look out my window. It's a building complex, so you can see the other side of the building. It started going into smoke. My neighbors came banging on my door telling me to get out. I guess it was evacuating the building, and I couldn't get out. My door was jammed. Everything off my windowsill fell, and I guess the impact of the explosion jammed the door as well.
How loud was it?
It was extremely loud. I couldn't even explain it to you if I couldn't. It was just so loud that it woke me out of my sleep. That's how loud it was.
It woke you up.
Yeah.
I saw a man, looked like your father, was it? Came up just a few minutes ago and embraced you.
Yes, he did, because he was so worried of the way that I called him. I was actually almost having an anxiety attack because I was crying and I didn't know what to do.
Almost having an anxiety attack. Jeez.
All right. So let's see if we can find. Let's see if this is where he says it.
In the event of any damage to the buildings, it was my obligation.
So right here is Larry Silverstein.
What has he got to say here? This is.
And what does he have to say about this event? Because in the title it says why World Trade Center needed to be rebuilt.
In the event of any damage to the buildings, it was my obligation to repair the damage or replace whatever is necessary, to do it as quickly as possible, like kind, like quality. The buildings came down. My obligation now was to put them back. It dawned upon me very, very swiftly that we couldn't let this go. We couldn't let this sit fallow because there were families leaving Lower Manhattan by the thousands. I mean, they couldn't get out of here quickly enough. Firms, commercial firms, were leaving. And the only way to reverse it was to rebuild. The only way to rebuild with private money was to take the insurance policies that I owned and collect. Instead of roughly $6 billion, we came out with $4.5 billion. People told us, hey, you'll never succeed, you'll never lease it, no one's going to want the space, you'll never rent it, you'll never finance it, don't build it. Everybody told me it's absolutely insane to do what I was doing, right? But I didn't listen to them, and I went ahead, built this building, and the net result is we leased it, and we financed it for 40 years, and it's an eminently successful building. I think the tower is beautifully designed. I think it will distinguish the New York skyline all over again. The new buildings are towers 2, 3, and 4. When you've got mass transit, which is what business looks for, you've got first-class space, which is what business looks for. You've got a first-class neighborhood, which is what business looks for. You've got an unbeatable combination. What we saw was the magnificence of what we're seeing today, and drove toward that. And happily, things seem to be working in the direction we expected to begin with. On my 84th or 85th birthday, in 2015, 2016, when I think this is really going to be done, I hope that people look at what we've accomplished here and agree that we did a superb job, that we built first-class buildings, iconic buildings, which we will have, that they'll be built to a standard that no one else has ever achieved before, which will be the case at the leading front of technology. The important thing today, instead of looking back, we're looking forward because of what's happening. And what's happening here is very
Don't
positive.
look back at the people we killed to do this. It's okay. Don't look back. Don't look back.
Yeah, don't look back.
Just look forward. Well, at some point there was a video where they actually have him on film saying, "Pull it," and then you see the building come crashing down. Like he actually issued the command to pull the plug on that building. I wish that we could find that. But I think it was actually on BBC. And I think, actually, BBC broadcasted something about the buildings coming down before it actually came down. That was another thing. They broadcasted it on BBC before the buildings, like they're like, oh, the 9/11 building, what is it? The World Trade Center has just been come down, hit by airplanes, and then all of a sudden, no, wait. Oh, it hasn't happened yet. Wait, it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, right. Yeah. This CNN video of building. Whoops. Is this the one? No.
I thought it was BBC.
Was it BBC?
Yeah, because they're over in like London, and they're reporting, and the timing was off because they didn't take into consideration the fact that they had to account for all those time zones. So they actually had.
There it is, right there. Did you know BBC?
Yeah.
Right.
Play that one.
Yep.
This is tripped out, man. Make sure it's playing.
Yep.
So they can see it.
Now, more on the latest building collapse in New York. You might have heard a few moments ago, I was talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing. And indeed it has. Apparently that's only a few hundred yards away from where the World Trade Center towers were. And it seems that this was not a result of a new attack. It was because the building had been weakened during this morning's attacks. We'll probably find out more now about that from our correspondent, Jane Stanley. Jane, what more can you tell us about the Salomon Brothers building and its collapse?
Well, only really what you already know. Details
Pay
are very,
attention
very
to the back
sketchy.
of her.
There's almost a sense downtown in New York behind me, down by the World Trade Centers, of just an area completely closed off as the rescue workers try to do their job. But this isn't the first building that has suffered as a result. We know that part of the Marriott Hotel next to the World Trade Center also collapsed as a result of this huge amount of falling debris from 110 floors of the two twin towers of the World Trade Center. As you can see behind me, the Trade Center appears to be still burning. We see these huge clouds of smoke and ash, and we know that behind that there's an empty piece of what was a very familiar New York skyline, a symbol of the financial prosperity of this city, but completely disappeared now, and New York is still unable to take on board what has happened to them today.
Presumably there were very few people in the Salomon building when it collapsed. I mean, there were, I suppose, fears of possible further collapses around the area.
That's what you would hope, because this whole downtown area behind me has been completely sealed off and evacuated, apart from the emergency workers. That was done by the mayor, Rudy Giuliani, much earlier today, because of, course, the dreadful collapse of the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center. But New York, very much a city still in chaos. The phones are not working properly, the subway lines are not working properly, and we know that down there near the World Trade Center there are 3 schools that are being turned into triage centers for emergency treatment. And I know that over in New York Harbor, where the famous Statue of Liberty is, there's a field hospital where
has also collapsed, and there it is.
The 47-story Salomon Brothers building, which is Building 7, building close to the World Trade Center, has also collapsed. This is what is detailing right now in this news article, news broadcast rather.
BBC, and it's right there.
And behind her is Building 7 has not collapsed.
So there's got to be
yet.
some major delay here or something.
I don't know. Maybe that's, I don't know.
1,500 people are being treated, and we have heard, though it's unconfirmed as yet, that 100 New York City police officers have been taken there as well for treatment, but we do need to confirm those figures for the officers.
Yeah.
It's now, some 8 hours since the attacks. Is there any estimate yet available of the number of casualties in the World Trade Center?
I think we can only go at this point with the words expressed by the mayor of New York, Rudy Giuliani, that it's too frightening to think how many there could be. We know that it's about almost 300 people on the airliners that were used in these attacks, but you've got to remember this was 9 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday morning. It's busy in downtown Manhattan, in the financial district there. And the World Trade Center itself has 50,000 workers. There are tens of thousands of tourists who go up there every day. The figures are almost too frightening to contemplate. You can understand why nobody yet wants to put a figure on them.
Listening to the mayor, Rudy Giuliani, a bit earlier, one of his messages was, business as usual. We won't let this get us down. But presumably, a lot of Manhattan people must have fled the city to Long Island to get away from possible further attacks.
Well, a lot of people were certainly trying to, but you remember that very early on, all the bridges and tunnels to the city, as well as the airports, were closed. New York was sealed, essentially. Now, we do know that the Long Island Railroad has begun running again to get people out of the city if they can, and people who can't manage to get out and perhaps lived in that area, they're being offered accommodation in empty school buildings. But certainly I saw earlier on today huge crowds of people desperately trying to walk up Upper Manhattan to get as far away as possible. I think nobody really knows how to go or where to go, and you have to remember even now, I don't think people can sink in to people what's happened.
We haven't for the past hour or so heard much from the people of Manhattan. You're with them there. I mean, what are they saying tonight after this catastrophic attack?
As I said, many just cannot believe this has happened, and I've seen big burly men and women with tears in their eyes today, shaking their heads, wondering what on earth is going on. There was a sense of panic. Our reports from the scene were of people just absolutely horrified. And I've already seen some photographs of that a man took down in the downtown area, and it looks like the aftermath of a huge atom bomb or something, just full of debris and of like a white carpeting of snow from all the dust and rubbish that had fallen. I don't think people can comprehend. They certainly have lost any feeling of safety. There's still a great pride in the city. People are determined to fight back, but a great sense of shock and loss. People keep looking at the sky, for example, where you can see the plume of smoke and say, when that's gone, it won't be there anymore. Our Twin Towers won't be there. Such a symbol of New York.
Are they talking yet about revenge and what the government should do to counter this threat, or are they numb still?
I think people are still numb, and I don't think people are talking about revenge in that way at all yet. I think people are still too traumatized. We don't know how many people have been killed.
It's still happening. How can they possibly be thinking about
I think when you
revenge
talk
at
to
that
people
point?
on they daren't even say how many
They're
people
talking
might
about that
have been
building
killed and
collapsed
injured. And I
already.
think that feeling, until the idea of the
For quite a while now.
people don't
Like it's
really
been
know
on their
what to say,
ticker
what to
for
think.
a
I
while.
think they feel the bubble of their security as being in America has definitely been popped. This city and this country will not be the same. But they don't really know where to turn. That's the very sad thing. I think there's going to be a lot of very, very traumatized people that has hit them very, very hard.
Jane, I think many of us, when we heard the news, perhaps on the radio earlier today, were completely flabbergasted by it and just couldn't comprehend it. I mean, it almost sounded too far-fetched. I was wondering what it's felt like for you being in Manhattan. Well, unfortunately, I think we've lost the line with Jane Stanley in Manhattan. Perhaps we can rejoin her and follow that up later.
Yeah, maybe Building 7 finally.
Across America, citizens
They
are
didn't wanna
trying to
show
come
it.
to
Oh,
grips
geez,
with the
that thing just
enormity
fell
of
down
what
now.
has happened.
There's definitely video of that though, of that lady talking, where you can see it in the background that it falls, as it's already reported on the ticker. Interesting.
They lost footage. Yeah, they lost.
Interesting.
They lost the
I know there's a video somewhere. I'd have to really fucking dig for it.
Yeah.
I imagine.
See if you can find the one where they actually show the main buildings coming down with those pop, 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 pop. Maybe, I don't know if they're going to show it in that one.
Reporter on camera as tower begins to collapse. Let's look at this one.
This is as close as we can get to the base of the World Trade.
Trade Center. You can see the firemen assembled here, the police officers, FBI agents, and you can see the two towers. A huge explosion now raining debris on all of us. We better get out of the way. We don't know what's happened inside. What we know we have to do is just keep running the other way. The firemen are going this way, so are the police officers. We don't know what's happening. This is as close as we can get to the base of the World Trade Center. You can see the firemen assembled here, the police officers, FBI agents, and you can see the two towers. A huge explosion now raining debris on all of us. We better get out of the way. We don't know what's happened inside. What we know we have to do is...
That's fucking crazy. I've seen that video before too. Jesse Ventura has gone quite deep on the investigation of it also. That was the first tower. That wasn't the
I remember waking up that morning and my roommate, I was sharing an apartment with a guy that I worked with at the time, and he was like, "You're not gonna believe what just happened." And he's like, look, a plane hit the World Trade Center in New York. And
This is the north side of the North Tower, and this is...
What were you saying? Sorry.
So I'm standing there looking at the TV, and as he's telling me what happened, we watch the second plane hit the other building. And I'm like, is that real? Is that real? I'm like, this is fake. It can't be real. Like, there's no way on earth that I could, at that time in my life, believe that the United States was actually under attack.
Yeah.
And something like that, that's never going to happen. I totally believed that the government would never allow that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then over the course of, months, years, you start to see little bits and pieces of information, and you start looking at all these videos, and all the different little pieces of the puzzle come together, and you start to realize that not only was the government not able to protect us, but they actually did it.
Mm.
That blows my mind. And I think most people, when they start talking like, oh, you're one of those conspiracy theorist guys, they haven't done enough research. My girlfriend at the time, well, a few years after that, was taking a college course where she had to do a term paper, and it had to be on it was like a composition, English composition course.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to write about something that was controversial. So I said, well, what about 9/11? She goes, what do you mean? What's controversial about 9/11? I go, you realize that that's like the biggest controversy of our entire life.
Mm-hmm.
She watched that documentary in plain sight. She watched a couple of other things, and she started to realize that, by doing some research, that everything that she grew up believing in, as far as the government being good and benevolent and taking care of us and all that it was all a bunch of lies. And she presented it to her class in the college over here, Rhode Island College, whatever. What's the one that's over there next to Twin River?
CCRI?
CCRI. And there was people in the classroom, they're like, you don't really believe that, do you? And her teacher's like, do you really, really honestly believe that? And like, people in her classroom were just like angry that she would even write such a thing. But she was just presenting, evidence that she did in her own little research. And like, anyone who's actually taken the time to do some research and just look through all the information that's out there, look at the stuff that we've looked at tonight in a very short period of time. There's tons and tons and tons of more evidence to show that our government is not the good guys.
I don't think, and that's another thing too. Like, I don't, especially by this point now, I think people should be able to recognize the fact that the government does not and never had our best interests to begin with.
Never.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
the very foundations of, like it or not, of how everything started unfortunately, human beings have to start from somewhere, and they started from shit in order to get somewhere. There are a lot of unfortunate circumstances of how things are created, but I think, and I hope that by finding a way, a moral way of bringing freedom, not just to, freedom to humanity, freedom to people who just want to live out their lives, want to live out their culture, want to live out their beliefs, as long as it doesn't harm anybody, right? The government as a whole never had that best interest.
No.
You know what I'm
They've
saying?
done all the harm.
Absolutely.
They've done all the harm.
The reason why people escaped from government was to get away from it.
Right. People came across the Atlantic Ocean 300 plus years ago to get away from the oppression that they were under over there, under all the European feudalism and royalty, monarchy.
Right.
They came here and they didn't want to have a monarch. They wanted to have individual freedom. And that's how it was for the very beginning, the very first, some people say 13 years, because believe it or not, most people don't realize that under the Articles of Confederation, there was 13 presidents. 13 presidents of the United States of America. They only got to rule for 1 year. They were the president of the Congress, the Continental Congress. Whoever was the president of the Congress was the president. It wasn't a separate branch like what we have now. And then they came up with, the Constitution, and it was like, 4 years, and you can get reelected and for a while, even before, I think it was up till FDR, you could get multiple. You didn't just have to stop at 2 terms.
Right.
But then they said, well, we're going to put term limits on the president. They should put term limits on all of them. By now we should. What we talked about the last time.
Yeah, term limits. Yeah.
Some of these people are just getting so old and rickety they don't even have any real connection with reality.
Real quick, I wanted shout outs to Jess, my friend Jess, that she linked. Looks like she linked the video to.
Did she find the one?
Larry Silverstein admitting to the 9/11 event.
Oh, play that.
Yeah, let's play that.
Until late afternoon, allowing occupants to evacuate to safety.
I remember getting a call from the fire department commander telling me that they were not sure they were going to be able to contain the fire. I said, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it. And they made that decision to pull, and then we watched the building collapse.
Controlled demolition.
Until late afternoon.
Building 7. I'm going to play that back again.
Look at this. I mean, he said pull it, and they pulled the switch on the thing.
Will contain the fire.
That's the voice right now.
Now, hold on a second. In order to be able to say pull it and then to have that building come down like that, it had to have been prearranged, and it was set up with bombs. And I mean, we're talking about a controlled demolition. At the very beginning of this podcast, we showed a controlled demolition up in Boston, how it happened. It was controlled. It was planned. And then he says, pull it, and within a minute, boom, the building comes down. That was pre-planned and ready to go.
Yep.
We've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it. And they made that decision.
Hold on. I just want to... You see his title? Leaseholder, World Trade Center. Leaseholder.
Yeah, the only guy who stands to make a shitload of money off of this.
Yep.
Decision to pull, and then we watched the building collapse.
Now, mind you, that's the background of what the lady who was talking about, and she's standing there saying how they had already come down, and that building is behind her head.
Correct.
And this is the actual when they decide to pull it maybe a few minutes later.
So in the background here, too, for the video viewer, is you don't see World Trade Center north or south because they're already down. They've already collapsed. Right here in this section where the cursor is, that's World Trade Center 7, who Larry Silverstein has. I also think he has an insurance policy out of North and South Tower too. But that South Tower, the BBC article that we were watching, there is another video where World Trade Center 7 collapses in the background as they're talking about it. I'm going to try and find that. But Yeah, this is Building 7, and as he's talking about it, it goes down when he says that they're going to pull it.
Class.
Now, keep that one in mind again. Building 7. I have no idea. Oh my God. Why is that playing? Why the fuck is that playing? Jesus Christ. It has nothing to do with 9/11. So keep that in mind.
Well, it kind of does. Cops shooting people.
Yeah, I guess so. Keep that in mind. And we will... Here we go, the Travelers Building. So let's back that up. And let's see how this building falls, right?
All right.
I'm going to pause that.
It's pretty amazing. They did that right in downtown Boston. In 1988.
To pull, and then we watched the building collapse.
Sorry.
Collapse. Pull.
Sorry about that. Bring that up. Now watch this Building 7, World Trade Center 7.
And then we watched the building collapse.
I mean, it just falls right into its own footprint.
It was planned. They already had it rigged. They already had it wired.
But the example here is that it looks as though that it's demolition.
It was demolition. He said pull it, and it went down.
Pull it.
I mean, come on.
That's like code word.
They had to have it pre-wired to come down.
So
Why would they do that?
I want to close this out with some footage of the actual towers falling. Because that's like, this is where people actually die, unfortunately. And I want to give it some light because it deserves to be known. It deserves to be remembered among many things. But it, I know, these fucking little creatures that are flying around here. They got to fix those windows that are from the 1800s. So let's play this.
Where the entry where the first plane hit.
They are images already seared into the memories of Americans. But the pictures taken by retired NYPD helicopter pilot Gregory Semendegger show 9/11 from a perspective that few people have ever seen.
I happened to have a camera, and in between the surveys of the roofs and trying to see if people made it to the roof, I just kept snapping pictures.
The photos have finally been released more than 8 years after the attack. Semendegger was in the air and on the scene just minutes after the first plane hit, and was there when the second plane slammed into the South Tower.
I did see the fireball, and I saw the papers that were blown out from the windows in the offices were just unbelievable. It looked like a confetti parade.
The photos show the massive scope of the 9/11 attacks while showing the personal impact as well.
Where all the smoke is coming from here, these are people...
All right, you saw the picture of the buildings on fire. They're huge buildings.
Right.
Look at that picture right there.
Yeah, right
what on earth is going to make the whole rest of that building just collapse completely in its own footprint? What? There's nothing there that's on fire that can cause a building to just turn to powder.
Just
powder.
People are saying that this part right here, like all these fires and all the fires that are going on, that it weakened the beams on here, and somehow the weight of that made the rest of the floors collapse. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
It doesn't.
It doesn't make any sense. If anything, that the floor should just collapse on itself.
They could have collapsed and landed right there, or maybe
Right there.
stopped about halfway down. But to completely powderize a whole building,
and maybe debris would fall off. Sure, okay, I'll give you that. But like, this isn't enough to melt the beams all the way down.
and it would have taken hours, if not days, probably days, for something like that to melt slowly down through.
Exactly.
It wouldn't just suddenly, all of a sudden, just collapse.
Exactly. I am looking for something that I saw earlier today that what it did was that it mirrored the Maui fires of the vehicles and the vehicles of 9/11, and how there were similarities between the vehicles of 9/11 and the vehicles of
the
Maui.
vehicles that burnt up in the street, supposedly.
Yes.
All right, so a strong wind blows, a little forest fire starts, and it suddenly can melt cars.
Correct. Right to the fucking road.
No.
And that there were missing like the lever the handles of the door were missing. I don't know why that's playing. The handles of the doors were missing, like all of them, on every single car in Maui, and every single car that looked like it was completely torched on 9/11. And I thought to myself, I'm like, what does that mean? Like, what is that? And like the metal is like just fucking melted down. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, why? Again, I'm not a demolitionist. I'm not an engineer.
All right, so
But I have a genuine idea of how heat and materials interact with one another.
Someone sent, like I was telling you, someone had sent me a link earlier today. This is the detailed movie we have been living in for the past 7 years, The Greatest Show on Earth.
The Greatest Show on Earth.
This film by Nick Alvier, I don't know, I haven't looked at it yet, so I have no
Sorry.
I have no idea what it's really about, but I don't know. This might be something people might want to take a look at. I don't know how much time we have left. We certainly can't.
Oh, here it is. Can you send it to my phone?
This powerful documentary from Good Lion Films, produced and written by Nick Alvier, shares the cabal takedown from the 2016 election to the capitulation tour of President Donald J. Trump, COVID-19, the 2020 election, Joe Biden's funeral, J6, setup, and how the continuity of government through the current events taking place will usher in the greatest time ever known on Earth. Well, I don't know about that.
Can you?
Do you want me to send you this link?
Yes. Can you?
I don't know. I mean, look, I don't know
The
if this
validity of it?
I
It's
have
fine.
no idea. I haven't looked at it yet. This is just something that someone sent me in a video link.
I'm also going to show something right now. Let's see if I can pull it up. I hope it lets me. Yeah, send that to the.
I'm just gonna do it on your.
Yeah, go ahead, do that,
phone,
and I'll
you-
just
you
I'll
can-
just
you
forward
can-
it to
yeah,
my.
you can do it. What you got to do with it.
Why is it not showing?
The greatest movie we have been living in.
The greatest movie.
The detailed movie we have been living in. Or apparently, people think we've been living in
A movie?
in a movie. Well, a production of like what do you call it?
It's not. It's not far off.
Like it's the greatest show on earth, and we're all a part of it. I guess.
It's not far off. Not at all.
Well, it certainly is a made-for-TV movie, if you ask me.
What's happening?
Everything that's been happening in the past decade, or even past 5 years. Maybe.
Absolutely. Let's see if I can find this. Oh, hold on.
Is the people still seeing it? Is this going on a podcast?
No, with it, they I believe they have. They're viewing us right now. In a moment. Oh, okay. So, shout outs to Lady Liberty, who is a friend on my Instagram. Shout outs to Lady Liberty. If you see this, lady.liberty.libby, shout outs to her because she posted this. I don't know if she made the video, but I know that she posted it. I shared it on my Instagram because it's a very interesting video. And it shows it compares the Maui destruction on the vehicles to the 9/11 vehicles, and I'm just sending this to myself. What you just sent me, so I can pull that up right after.
There's
too.
been speculation for quite some time now that there was a directed energy weapon used in both of these.
Yep.
And that
There's
this
that
directed
conspiracy.
energy weapon has the ability to like literally fry stuff from out in the atmosphere. I think when, and people have said something about one of the presidents, I can't remember now, I don't want to quote the wrong president, but one of them said something about space wars. Well, we obviously know that the whole Space Force thing has actually come into fruition, but they were talking about space wars and how they would be able to have weapons out on satellites circling around the globe and then be able to strike down from the heavens, literally, with these directed energy weapons. And this is what they believe is actually happening now. And this is what
I want to show before I start showing all the stuff, is that because I did this. I did a.
Are they seeing this?
Yes. No. Hold on. Sorry. They are now. So before I show the Maui comparison to 9/11, 9/11 comparison to Maui, I did a podcast, a live podcast, a brief live podcast about DEWs, direct energy weapons. It's not unknown knowledge that America, as far as I know, America has the capability of energy weapons, laser type weapons. The Navy has it, aircrafts have it. I'm going to show this. Sorry, I'm going to show this. It's by CNN. Surprising. But it shows the naval forces have energy type weapons that they can utilize in order to destroy targets. I just want you to put this in perspective when people say, hey, I think there might be energy weapons that are being used on, specific areas that might be causing fires. They might have been introduced into 9/11. It's worthy of looking into. Mind you, this is the post here on this post here that I'm showing you, the video is about 6 years ago. I believe we've had this technology for at least 10 to 15 years. Just to give that perspective, that's all.
Operationally, it works just like a laser pointer. There's a chamber inside with special materials that release photons.
If you're looking at a boat coming in over the water, you can target exactly the engine and take out exactly the engine and not necessarily damage anything else. So, and that type of precision weapon work is something that you don't really get with conventional weapons because there tends to be more collateral damage.
It's useful against a variety of threats, surface or air. It's not a niche weapon system like some other weapons that we have, throughout the military, where it's only good against air contacts or it's only good against surface targets.
So notice that they said that it's a precision weapon that can take out specific target, a specific area of target. Just keep that in mind. So we're going to go into the video here, lady.liberty.libby on Instagram. She posted this. Hopefully you can see the full video because it looks like it might be a little scaled down, but I don't know where to actually get the full video here, but let's see. Will it play? Oh, okay. It's gonna play off of her page, it looks like. But there's no sound. Let's
Sure. Where are they?
I'm just gonna reboot this. Hold on.
There were thousands, probably, of people in these buildings.
Sure.
Where are they? Where did they go?
The remains of several hundred people were recovered from Ground Zero and ceremonially buried.
but there was no trace left at all of over 1,500 who died.
Never the people who left the building early, even referred to as jumpers. I don't think they voluntarily jumped.
How many people are we talking about?
About 1,200.
It was raining people.
It appears that there's a lot of mass coming out of the building for hours.
So basically it was disintegrating from the inside.
Yeah. By 5:20 p.m. there wasn't enough mass left to slam to the ground.
The walls were like an empty shell.
The World Trade Center, 50 times the global levels of tritium were discovered.
It's from some kind of nuclear reaction.
This is the really weird thing, isn't it? There was a big hurricane on the morning of 9/11, just off the coast, and bizarrely, it seems, no one on the news mentioned it.
This was recorded in Alaska. Ground-based magnetometers at 6 different locations.
Yes.
At precisely that moment, the Earth's magnetic field changed. He creates a static field, and within that static field, he interferes radio frequency signals. This interference is a different kind of physics.
Where is all the rubble?
There's no debris.
Where the hell did these buildings go? You're talking about 110-story buildings that fucking evaporate.
Where did the towers go?
When the towers went away, there was no S wave or P wave. It was only a surface wave. And you get that when you lift the buildings off the ground. You no longer have that weight there. It's gone.
At the bottom of the towers was something called the bathtub.
If the debris of the buildings had fallen into that bathtub, it would have ruptured the walls, resulting in the entire flooding of lower Manhattan, but the walls were not ruptured.
These huge buildings turned to dust in midair right in front of our faces on TV. Why did so few people see that?
It's incomprehensible for somebody to see something solid turn into dust. Free your mind.
The dust was hitting people, and people were not burning. Obviously, the dust was not hot.
Dust cloud rolls out, and it leaves behind people covered with dust, not burned bodies. Why not the trees? Why not the buildings? Why not the paper?
How do you explain that? The cars burn, the paper doesn't.
The alleged plane that we saw on the video went through the building like knife through hot butter, almost as if there was no resistance whatsoever.
What I can say for certain is a normal airplane did not hit a normal wall. That's impossible.
There were thousands, probably, of people in these buildings. Where are
All right, that's just exactly what I've been trying to say. I can't even believe that someone put that together. That's exactly the way that, in my mind, what I've been trying to say for since it happened. I mean, when I first started becoming aware, it was like they just turned to powder. How does something that's they said it? How does something that's 110 stories tall disappear?
Right.
Like there was no, like the rubble should have been at least half the height of the building.
Here it is. Also, that one was a good one. And right here, am I going to get sound from this?
Yeah, you look at when they showed the video of building.
Sorry.
Remember, the evidence is the truth that a theory must mimic if the theory is correct. The evidence is showing us a different story than what we were led to believe. Every car up this road was toasted in some.
So there's a longer video. I'm not sure how it's supposed to get how I can post it on here, but it showed that short little clip apart, and also coinciding with Lady Liberty's from Instagram, her video. I don't know if she put that together or it's a combination of things, but yeah, it's showing these.
The cars in Maui, yeah, burnt. I saw pictures.
It's showing the idea that perhaps there's something else that we don't that the public does not understand that was involved in the events of 9/11, also involved in the events of Maui and other events that have been happening in recent years.
One of my own personal experiences from being in the military was that the government has secrets for at least 30 years before the public ever
like
finds
30,
out
50,
about it.
30 to 50 years.
At least 30 in my own personal knowledge. There's a 30-year delay before we get to see what they are already playing with.
Mm-hmm.
So 9/11 was 22 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
The technology that they used back then to create that.
We're already 30 years in the making.
Well, no, we're just starting to hear about it now because we're getting up close to that 30 year. I mean, these directed energy weapons, they already had them back then.
Mm-hmm.
We're just starting to hear about it now.
Mm-hmm.
Because it takes that long before they'll disclose. Well, they want to. So what happens is they create something that's really fantastic, and they'll use it secretly, and then eventually it's like, well, how are we gotta make some money off of this, so we gotta get it out where people can.
Space Force.
Right, we gotta get it out where people can see it, where it can become now a part of our reality. Because there beforehand, 30 years ago, when they were doing shit, it was all secret, top secret, like the whole UFO thing.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah,
If there's UFOs flying around, we should be seeing them this disclosure should be happening any time now. Because we've been talking about it for a lot longer than 30 years. 1947, Roswell was how many years ago?
Right.
70 years ago?
Somewhere around there.
65 years? I mean, I don't do the math. They've got to come out with it. But actually, if you think about it, the technology that we began to become aware of at the time of Roswell is already old news now. Jet planes were just kind of a new thing back then. Rockets were kind of a new thing back then. I mean, rockets. You realize that the real first rocket, I believe it was the V1 or V2 rocket that Hitler was playing with just prior to World War II, eventually supposedly got people up to the moon in the 1960s. If we actually went to the moon, there's another whole rabbit hole you can go down. But the rockets that we have today are, it's technology from Hitler's time.
Right.
It's not really a whole lot that changed. And NASA, the guys who started NASA here in the United States, who started building the rockets that supposedly took us to the moon, those were German scientists.
Yep.
That came over after the war, after World War II.
Yep.
They were the ones that were building the rockets for Hitler.
Some of them ended up in Venezuela also.
Well, the ones that didn't come here and get, seek some sort of asylum.
There's a small German town in Venezuela.
There is.
Yeah, there actually is a.
There's more than one German town in South America that the people are obviously German descent, and I actually met one of them just recently.
No shit.
A young woman whose family was escaping from Nazi Germany and went down to Brazil.
No shit.
Yeah, just met her a couple weeks ago.
No shit.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's that's an oddball history, and it aligns also with a lot of the stuff that's going on
well, that's
today.
what I'm saying. It's all related. Everything's all
it's like,
intertwined.
That's the thing. Like so many things. Like people who may not be too privy on a lot of the information that is pretty accessible and known if you pay attention enough. You know what I mean? You can line up 9/11 with Auschwitz. That's how lined up everything is. You can line it up with Gulf of Tonkin. You can line it up with the Operation Northwoods. You can line it up with all of it.
There's one true stream of history that has been running through since the beginning of history as we know it. I mean, recorded history. There's one stream of consciousness, and it's all interrelated, and we're all a part of it. It's all a part of us. We can't escape it. People talk about God and Satan and heaven and hell and good and evil and all that. It's all interrelated. And we are actually right now probably at the pinnacle of what might be called, what some people call the end times, but then there's, like people are saying that, no, this is going to be the beginning of a whole new era. What one thing ends, another new thing begins. And, this is like the end of an age, I can remember in the year 1999 when everybody was afraid that Y2K was going to be, and I was a Y2K consultant.
Yeah.
Oh, people thought this was it. This was the end of it. And then 2000, the ball dropped down in New York there, and we watched the ball drop that night, and everything went off perfectly. I was a part of that. And there was no big, huge end of world scenario type thing. So it keeps going on. So it was the beginning of a new millennium. We started in 2001. This happens.
Yep.
This is how they kicked off the new millennium. With bad, and bad. More lies on top of more lies on top of and all the evil that's been here on this planet all along just came out and said, we're going to put a new face on it. And this is what we've been dealing with since then.
Yep.
I mean, we're in the beginning stages of a new millennium, but is it the end of time? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think it's the end of time, but it is the end of the time of a great tyranny.
Well, there's been a huge tyranny, and as much as I love America, I'm American. My family's been here for, at least part of my family's been here for 12, 13 generations since like the time of Pilgrims and colonial America, and so I really do love America. But I think that the United States, as we know it in the District of Columbia, is not anything to be proud of. It really isn't.
No, you're right.
And I mean,
100%.
there's just too much evidence to show us that. And it doesn't mean that I'm not patriotic, because I still love my country, and I would still love to do anything I can within my power to make it right.
Right.
To make it great.
Right.
And I mean, I kind of hope that maybe we'll see something change in this next election cycle, although I don't really have a whole lot of faith in elections.
Well, it's like you said last time, man. We're not going to vote them out.
No.
I don't think we're going to vote them out.
It's going to take something a lot more than a vote. It's going to take people getting pissed off enough to do something about it. And I think what's going on when we were talking about, sometimes I start talking about the finance stuff, the collapse of the American or the U.S. dollar is coming. And I've been told, and I watched a video last night, kind of in preparing myself for this podcast today, about the economy and the collapse that's coming. And there are people who are saying that within the next 12 months, probably before the next actual election, that the U.S. dollar is going to be dirt. And the BRICS nations and their gold-backed system is going to be ruling the world, which means that China is a real serious problem for us.
Yep.
The Chinese communists are still part of the New World Order, and they don't want to give up what they have, but they're going to change the face of it. It's not going to be, an American face. It's going to be a Chinese face on the dollar, whatever that dollar turns out to be. They're calling it the yuan now. And people are saying that all these other nations are starting to do trade. Instead of using the Federal Reserve note, which we call the U.S. dollar, they're going to be using the Chinese yuan. And this is probably going to happen within the next year.
I think so.
Probably before the next election cycle. So all I can say as a word of warning is, people, you really need to start thinking about where you're planting your feet, because where you live right now is going to turn into, if you think it's bad, I mean, it's only going to get worse over probably the next year. We don't see any end to the inflation. They're comparing it to what happened in Zimbabwe.
Yep.
If anybody knows about what happened in Zimbabwe, is they went into hyperinflation to where they literally had $1 trillion notes. Like you want to go down to the store to buy something, you needed to have multiple trillions of dollars. Like who? That's
yeah,
not,
like
it's
like
unimaginable.
like the price of bread would change in a matter of hours.
Yeah, and to the tune of like
Yep.
it used to be $50 trillion. Now it's $100 trillion to buy a loaf of bread.
Yeah, the way that
They
we
actually had notes with 100 trillions of that many zeros on
the
them.
the way that we see the influx of how gas fluctuates is the same as how they saw bread and milk fluctuate.
Yeah. And
Like
we're gonna see that too, though.
one day would be, I'm just putting a number out there, but say it would be $5 American, and then the next day would be $8 American to buy milk, right?
Yeah.
Bread, $2.
We're seeing that now. I
Oh,
went,
yeah, yeah,
I went
we're
down and
s-
bought
we're-
a gallon of milk the other day. It was $6.
Yeah, it's fucking. Certain brands are like almost $12.
Depending on where you get it. And if
Depending
you're in
on
a
what you get.
neighborhood, if you're in a neighborhood where now the gas runs out and you can't get in your car and drive to, let's say, a real supermarket where you could get it for $2.99, now you got to walk to the corner convenience store and pay $6 for it.
Yeah.
Now those numbers are today's numbers. What's it going to be like next year when it's like you need to scrape together $12 to walk down to the corner to get a gallon of milk and another $12 to get a loaf of bread just to put something in your baby's mouth because the baby's crying.
Yeah. Yep.
This is reality. This is
Yep.
this is what happens in other countries, and it's going to happen here. And why do we think that we are so special in America anymore that somehow we're going to escape that? We're not going to escape it.
No, we're not.
We're going to be living it.
The thing is, and I get the arguments, and when people say like, "Oh, all these people on welfare, all these people on welfare," listen, it ain't gonna matter. it ain't gonna matter what's about to happen to everybody. Welfare ain't gonna mean shit
Oh.
to those people.
No, you're dependent on the government
that are
again.
on that. Believe, but mark my words. Quote these words. I hope I'm wrong, but that shit ain't gonna matter because if the dollar doesn't matter to when you go out to the store and try and buy a loaf of bread that was, last week $2.99, it's now $20.99.
No, you know what? You know what the reality of it's going to be is somebody's already looted the store. They got all their bread.
It's already looted by that time. Yeah, for
the
sure.
bread's already in
100%.
their house, and now you got to go bust into their house and take the bread back if you want to get some bread.
Yeah.
And they're going to be sitting in there with whatever weapons they can and whatever numbers. Think about the gangs. When the gangs start taking over and just going and looting stores, where are you going to get your groceries from?
Well,
You're
that's
going to have
another-
to go take the gang out?
That's another thing too, because we have people that will do the necessary things, but we're not used to having to go the distance of being able to be complete savage amongst each other. Now, do we have it in us?
Everybody has it in us, but guess
I'm
what?
a father.
Most of us
100% I have it in me. But the thing is that I don't want to do that.
Not only that,
I
but
don't
you-
want to have to do that.
You're not accustomed to it, and if you haven't planned for it, you're not going to have the weaponry because they're going to have
Correct.
weapons. Here's one thing that the reality of when they try to control guns, they're taking guns away from good people.
Yeah.
They can't take guns away from criminals.
Right.
So when they make gun laws, they're just governing you, the good guy, from having the ability to protect himself from that gang member who's got all the guns.
There's a quote. Once they start taking the gun, once they start outlawing guns, only outlaws will have them. Or something along those lines.
You're right on the spot with that.
Typically, the outlaws aren't the ones that are. Well, let me put it this way: the ones who become outlaws are really the law-abiding citizens that are like, well, this is my right. I got to do this. I gotta hold on to what I have and what is my right and what I'm willing to do to defend my family and defend everything that I love. But then there are those people that are like, well, I don't want the police coming. I don't want the government coming upon me. I don't want none of those problems. So I'm just gonna hand over my shit. But you're leaving yourself completely 100% defenseless.
Well, now you're at the mercy of the cops who, and I'll tell you something. One thing that I've learned about government, and there's no denying it, they care about their families just as much as we care about our families, but they don't care about your family.
Right.
They don't
100%,
care about
yeah.
you.
100%.
Did you ever get that call, or was we looking for a call?
No, I didn't get a response, unfortunately. Let me check again.
Well, I'm just saying it's 9 o'clock. We've been at it now for a while. I don't know where we want to go from here. I don't. I mean, it's 9/11, and we should at least probably end on a positive note.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that a lot of people have died because of 9/11 and the wars that have come since 9/11. The good people that have died in the wake of it, and you know, the firefighters and the first responders, and I mean, look at that's never ending. We're still, when it comes to COVID, the COVID thing is just another type of invisible war. And
yeah, there's a lot of first responders that had gone through 9/11, first responders and all that stuff. They actually suffer, from ailments after that.
Yeah. But the thing,
inhaling
one of the things that I wanted to when I talk about, I recently was made aware, and I mean, it should be kind of obvious to everybody by now, but most of the people in the medical professions were forced to take the jab, and those COVID vaccines are coming around, and a lot of those people are dying or suffering from heart diseases and all sorts of other things as side effects of the vaccine, and they were forced to take that, and people are starting to wake up to the reality that hey, the government forced people to take an experimental drug that now all of a sudden is actually causing a lot of really bad and deadly side effects.
Correct.
And we don't even really know what the long-term effects of that are. So some people are saying, yeah, I saw an advertisement on TV the other day. Now this is where I kind of, if we were going to end it on a note, and this is not a positive note, but I'm going to try and spin it. There was an advertisement on TV where they were talking about, is it beneficial to have children get the vaccine? And this lady's like, oh, yes, absolutely. They need that layer of protection against the vaccine. And what I'm saying is no. If you have any courage to stand up to the government, say no, don't let your children have that thing, because they're never going to make it to adulthood.
No.
I mean, there's too many bad things going on in the formative stages of life to have. We already know that the vaccines have caused all kinds of damage to children, and the vaccine companies don't even get to. You can't take them to court or anything. You get basically
because they're complete immune
to any kind of
no pun.
Yeah. So yeah, right. I don't even know why. Well, I went there because I think that this war that started on 9/11, it started with Donald Rumsfeld on 9/10.
Yeah.
Of 2001 hasn't ended yet, and it's just one layer upon another layer upon another layer of deception, lies, and we can't trust them. And I don't.
I think a thing to take from this is that it is critical to look at our government and look at the details that they give us, what the media gives us, to critically analyze the stories that were being told of an event such as 9/11, such as COVID, such as quote unquote the war on terror. It's critical to look at the information. Benghazi, another event.
Benghazi, JFK. We don't even know. I mean, we still don't even know about that one.
It's critical to look at all of this information to make sure to make a logical conclusion, to make a hypothetical analyzation of the information that's given, and to make, obviously, when you're being lied to, and we've been lied to for decades, by the government, by officials, by corporations, all that stuff, it's critical to look at all this information. And also, when you find that out, relate that to events that end up occurring. You can't take all these things by face-to-face value. You have to look into it. So it's obvious that the special interest that the government has, it doesn't have the special interest of the people, doesn't have the special interest of your family, doesn't have the special interest of your medical and health care, doesn't have the special interest of your taxes, doesn't have the special interest of your well-being. You have to look at everything critically. You can't keep accepting what the media is telling you. They're obviously lying to you. They're obviously giving you the propaganda. So
it's legal for them to give propaganda
do that. Yeah.
So what we can do, here's a little exercise for us to all look at over the next 12 months. I'm going to say, first of all, the collapse of the U.S. dollar we already talked about, but just keep a focus on Maui, because Maui
9/11 ran on the dot.
We just missed it. Yeah, it just rolled over. But Maui we're going to see something happen in Maui They're going to put out the fires, and then new buildings are going to go up in the place of the old buildings, and we'll see who occupies them.
Oh yeah,
It's not going to be the Hawaiian people.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. It's going to be Bezos and Oprah's. And I'm very disappointed in you, Dwayne Johnson. I'm very disappointed in you, brother. I thought you were good in Black Adam, but I'm not too sure about your character, sir. I'm not too sure about his character.
It was a good movie, but yeah.
And you were also a great wrestling entertainer, but I don't know about your character, buddy. I don't know. You're partnering up with Oprah. That's pretty questionable, in my opinion. Just saying. I don't know how to leave this on a good note because
it's 9/11.
It's 9/11.
What's good about 9/11?
Right.
I mean, what can we take away from 9/11? The only thing good we can take away from 9/11 is it's time to wake up, people.
Yeah. It's
time to
been
wake
long
up.
overdue. I mean, we are so out of time to be woken up. We are so out of time. Me and Freedom Man have been talked about this over the years. For the past 10 to 15 years, from what I remember, we are way beyond overtime. I mean, way beyond out of time. But
well, that movie, hey,
we're not out of time to keep pressing on the message.
Wait a minute. Maybe that link that I gave you to that movie might be. It's set. Look at. Can you just bring up the link? We obviously haven't got time to watch the whole movie. Can
I gotta
you bring
wrap
up that?
it real quick. But what is it? What's the movie?
I sent you the link.
Oh, you sent me the link. You did?
I sent you a link on your phone. See if it's there.
Let's see. I think I emailed it myself.
I
Is it
just
this
wanna
one?
see what
best
the-
best. What the fuck is this?
Just open the website. I want to see what it looks like. I'm not even. I don't even know. Because like I said, I didn't have a chance to look at. Okay,
This
the
one?
Greatest show
The-
on
oh,
earth.
the
detailed movie we have been
Living in the past 7
for
years, the
past
greatest
7
show on
greatest
earth.
show on earth. All right, scroll down a little bit. What does it say about it? All right, this is it. This is
is it
actually
right
a
there?
documentary.
It's a
So
documentary?
I don't know if it's real, if it's good. It was sent to me by a friend who I haven't had a chance to check it out.
It
but
says the detailed movie we have been living in for the past 7 years, the greatest show on earth. It says this powerful documentary from Good Lion Films, produced and written by Nick Alvier, shares the cabal takedown from the 2016 election to the capitulation tour of President Donald J. Trump, COVID-19, the 2020 election, Joe Biden's funeral.
yeah, that's the part. I mean, I
What
don't.
the fuck?
Yeah.
J6 setup and how January 6th and how the continuity of government through the current events taking place will usher in the greatest time ever known on earth.
So that's the whole thing. Is that whoever created this is saying that we're getting ready to go into the greatest time. Like this is the end of an old and the beginning of a new great time. So I don't know if it's worth some.
It could
maybe
be.
It might be worth checking out.
It could be a semi-religious aspect because although a lot of things people think that a lot of parts of Revelation, a lot of parts of prophecy is being fulfilled, and this is actually not a time to fear, but a time to rejoice.
Well, it could be, and I don't
Because
know if that's
it's-
what this is about
because
because
it's-
I just haven't got a chance to look at it yet. So I'm going to take a look at that later on tonight.
Because
when I
they
get
think
home.
that the end of the evil one's reign is
That's what we can
is
hope
coming.
for.
Yeah,
That's
well,
what we can hope for.
I'm hoping for it.
Yeah.
I'm tired of the fucking bullshit.
I hear you, man.
But yeah, let's end this as, I hope. Also, we appreciate that you tuned in to the True Perspective, the TRU Perspective on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Rumble, and also on Facebook. I'm surprised that they. We got a community standards here. Hold on.
Uh-oh. What did we do? Did we get booted off of Facebook?
I don't know. It doesn't know. It's still showing. It looks like it's still showing, but it says our community standard. These policies come from feedback from people from people on Facebook and the advice of experts. These policies include different views and beliefs and are especially meant to protect those who might otherwise be overlooked or marginalized.
I don't think we did anything like
No,
that.
but it's going to highlight bullying and harassment. Keep everyone respected and welcome by avoiding doing things that threaten or bully another. Did I threaten or bully? Did we threaten or bully? I don't know. Maybe we did. The naysayers. Hate speech. Did we do hate speech? People should be protected, especially from attacks on their race, ethnicity, religion, language, gender, or sexuality. I'm not sure if we talked
didn't-
about
we
any of those
didn't-
damn things.
No, none of them. Okay, I understand.
Should I say understand?
Yeah, I
guess.
understand.
All right, fuck off.
I understand.
I understand, I guess. I understand.
Yeah, I
I
don't
can't
think-
talk about race, religion, sexuality. Come on.
I know. That kind of makes a boring show.
It does make a boring show when you can't talk about those things. It's very exciting to talk about those things. Up 50%. $2. What does that say? I am fucking terrible. $2. Oh, $2 a liter in Canada. Shout outs to
So that's like $8 a gallon.
shout outs to AMC Rebel SST. Shout outs to you, brother. I think I'm gonna assume you're from Canada. But yeah, 2 liter. I don't know what's 2 liter.
Well,
we
2 liters-
we
2
measure.
liters is a
What are
little
we?
more than a
We
quart.
we measure in gallons out
Yeah.
here in America.
So he's talking.
So
or
2 liters
I don't know if
is
it's a he or a she, but
I-
that's
yeah,
like
I'm sorry.
$8
I don't want to
a gallon.
misgender.
It's
I don't want to
like
misgender.
Yeah, especially in Canada. But it's like $8 a gallon or $7.50 a gallon, probably.
Shout outs to Canada. Listen, you guys went through some fucking bullshit with Trudeau, so I mean, we don't have your problems, but we're coming into your problems. Most definitely coming into those problems. The West, America, listen, if we fall, the rest of the world falls, and that's a guaranteed fact. Freedom Man, I appreciate you, brother, for coming on here. I think we did a good job on trying to highlight some very important things. That Donald Rumsfeld thing was really important
That was
to
key,
highlight. That was key right there.
Right there. That
I don't
was the
think
beginning of it.
too many I don't see too many people documenting on that part.
No, yeah, nobody ever really seems to remember that was like
Yeah.
the opening event.
They
for the
mention
whole
it, but
thing.
they don't play that, and I'm so glad that you came across that because I want to save that
Yeah, it's good.
for future reference. But brother, I appreciate you. Always a pleasure to have you on. And
It's always a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, hell yeah, you're one of my guys right here.
Can't wait to do it again already.
Yeah,
Anyways,
absolutely. Yeah, well,
you'd think after 3 hours of this that we'd be ready to like I am ready for bed because I get up for work in the morning. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's like I could go on another 3 hours. You know.
Listen, we're gonna have to set it up to where like we have like a weekend where neither of us have that work, and we'll just set a time. We can do it early or whatever.
Like a
and we'll just
marathon.
fuck that. Yeah,
People
yeah,
would be
dude.
like dropping out on us and shit.
Who cares? I'll just piece it off or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
It's
We'll
true.
find
We
a
could
dedicated.
edit it.
We'll find dedicated topics.
Well, yeah, we could take like 12 hours straight and then edit it down to like a 1 hour.
Oh, dude, that actually would probably do pretty good because all I have to do is just piece that out and just weekly just.
Oh yeah.
Throw it on a Spotify here and there. You know what I'm saying? That
Yeah,
will work out. But we'll talk about it. But listen, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Let me just check YouTube, see if anyone tuned in on there. I know it's been a little light on there. No, still Larry's there, but he only said one thing. It's all right. And then there is Lisa Mullins. Oh no, sorry, that's a video. I just exited out of Rumble. Shit. I don't know why I did that. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in to the True Perspective, the TRU Perspective on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Rumble. I do have to wrap this up. This is a special for 9/11. And
Wait, hold on. Listen to this. Cars are floating around Branch Ave. The water rose 4 feet and is still rising. They had to rescue people from the parking lots and the businesses. That's going on right now live in Providence, Rhode Island. So we need to avoid the downtown.
we need to, that's actually where I got to head to.
You better call and find out and see if it's even safe to go down there with your car. You might want to walk or swim.
Right.
Get a kayak.
So I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe. The TRU Perspective on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Rumble. Freedom Man, I appreciate you, brother, for tuning in with me or for accompanying me. And we'll do this again. Thank you, brother.